Oh, okay. So I'll plug something real quick. Is that
Yeah.
right, Jim?
I'll plug you real quick. Oh!
I am interviewing the directors of Indie Game the movie for Flixist tomorrow. I forgot. I'm doing a video interview with them. I have like 4 questions written out. I should probably have at least 8 or 12. It's really exciting. Their movie's in Sundance. In case you haven't heard of it, it's a documentary about the creators of Fez, Braid, and Super Meat Boy, which are some popular indie games. Actually made a lot of money, all
That
of
sounds
them.
good, but I'm going to have to stop you, because this is getting entirely too long to just put before the music.
I had the weirdest thing. I got home on Friday. I think I had food poisoning, but I'm not sure because I went out and I was out drinking, but not like really badly. And I went to bed probably 1 o'clock in the morning, and I woke up at maybe 4, and I just started throwing up, which is really weird because I pretty much never do that unless I've had way too much to drink or I'm just dying of a fever. And I was like sober when I woke up, so it was probably not the first thing. And then I went back to sleep and I woke up and I just was like completely feverish and sore all day Saturday, and I thought that I had the flu. And then I woke up on Sunday and I was perfectly fine. So I have no idea what
Fucking
happened.
hell. I had a similar experience this weekend as well.
Really,
This
I think
is
it was.
like that time we both bought Anaconda at the same time.
I think it's because of Holmes. I think it was. I think we got like mercy or like sympathy vomit or something.
Mm. Me and the lady went out to an Indian restaurant because we saw one in Mississippi and thought, well, that's novel. So we went in there. It was a Saturday night, so on a Saturday night, if we go out, the basic aim is to find anywhere that is empty and go in it. So obviously, Indian restaurant in Mississippi going to be fucking empty. So we went in there. And now I'm a British person, which means I've had plenty of Indian food in my time. Only now I'm allergic to it,
Oh,
which I discovered Saturday night. My tongue became really big, and I was talking like a cartoon simpleton. Then my lips got my bottom lip got really sort of coppery and fat and tingly.
oh man.
Then I started wheezing, and my stomach felt like it was on fire. Fell asleep, sort of in and out of consciousness while Constantine, followed by Dumb and Dumber, was playing on the TV,
That probably
which
didn't help.
it kind of made me a bit funnier. Then, yeah, 3 a.m., threw up, fell asleep again, woke up perfectly fine, apart from just a little sore spot where obviously the lip had become inflamed. Then I was perfectly fine. Today, woke up this morning, though, I got a bit of a cold, as I was saying to Max before we recorded, because this can all go in. This is comedy gold.
Yes.
Welcome to Podtoid. If you hear me slurping and snorting and everything, I've got a cold, which suddenly became really bad the second I started.
I thought it would be a good idea to turn myself into a rhinoceros. I did.
I wish I sounded like that and not like some sort of cartoon girl. I think a part of it was brought about by me playing Amy, the horror game,
How
by
is that?
the French folk. Fucking shit, mate.
Really?
Fucking shit. And I say that with every fibre of my being. Don't get it. Don't ever get it. The fact they
Okay.
wanted to charge 12 or 13 bucks for it is a fucking joke. And reducing it to 10 bucks as part of some PR stunt? No. I wouldn't even recommend it for 5. It is awful. It's like they took everything bad about old survival horror from your original Resident Evil, your original Silent Hill, and none of the good stuff.
Oh man.
Just awkward controls. Like they've got the modern analog control scheme, but they still control. Like the character still controls like a survival horror forklift truck thing. You have to keep holding this girl's hand like in fucking Ico. But if you just graze a wall, she lets go, and then she's lost to the
Oh boy.
zombies.
Somebody pointed out something funny. They were saying how, typically with companion missions in games where you have to protect someone, it's usually pretty tedious and frustrating because the AI is generally pretty bad and things like that because it's a dumb game mechanic to begin with. But they were saying how it kind of cuts out the middleman, or it kind of cuts some corners by having the character being autistic. If you're leading around this weird girl, and she's she's just kind of wandering around. She's kind of in her own world. Maybe that's an excuse.
It's okay to have an autistic character, but don't have autistic game developers making a fucking shitty game. There was one bit, been chased by zombies. The main character grazed a bit of a wall and then just ran on the spot. And I had to stop running and reposition her like trying to parallel fucking park and then set her off again. If you move the camera while walking, the main character stumbles for some reason. Like, she just kind of stutters and has to recalibrate herself. And then the gameplay is just typical escort mission, watch animations of the girl just fucking hacking into a computer for ages to open doors. It's just the very worst of everything.
So I think I'll probably be taking that $12 and I'll be spending it on something better, like dirty magazines from the corner store.
Hey, go get some of them. They're pornography,
Yes.
Oh.
Good.
I also played the Asura's Wrath demo.
Yeah, I saw your tweet about that.
I thought what I'd do is get the game talk out of the way before Jonathan gets here.
That's fine.
So that we don't waste a second with him.
So much shit about... He's like, oh boy, Grand Theft Auto? Oh, no, I don't. Skyrim? Really? I don't know.
And then he says something like, it's okay for people that like that, I guess, with the implication being it's okay if you're a fucking mom. Because he's lovely, but there's always this implied hint of malice in everything he says. I love Jonathan Holmes. I've been stalking him now. I've been stalk's a bad word, manhunting him. I believe that's the professional term. Just following him around on his social networks, just checking his interactions with other people to get inside his head, learn about him, not in a combative, scary way, in a fun, better for the podcast way. So I know when he gets on, we're going to ask him what he thinks of Rick Santorum and Newt Gingrich and all sorts of political things. Because
he's going to go... I don't know about politics, guys.
Yeah, exactly. He said he doesn't like it. He said it's it's a debate kind of thing that he doesn't like to be sucked into. So I thought, suck him into that and see what happens. So I'll be doing that. Don't worry, listeners. We've got Is It Pedophilia or Not coming up. I've worked diligently on that instead of doing my real job at Destructoid. So that's squared away. But Asura's Wrath is interesting. I've got a preview of it coming up on Destructoid at the time I'm recording it today, but it will be up by the time this podcast.
Now, are you playing the demo or are you playing a preview build or something?
Just the demo. I just did some demo impressions.
Okay.
Which was very easy. I finished the demo about 3 minutes before we started recording. But considering the preview only says Dragon's Lair, the video game, it didn't take me very long to publish. So that's fun. It is basically just... It is just a big QTE thing.
Really?
Like one of those old FMV games. Hilarious shit happening on the screen. I can't deny it's got energy and sort of this weird sort of anime parody kind of thing going on, which is vastly entertaining. I just wish it would let me play it and be a video game. At the moment, it seems like it could have just been a cartoon.
Yeah. That's disappointing. I come in here and I'm just full of hope and sunshine and brightness, and you just shit everywhere, just shitting everywhere, all over the new things. What else is coming out? There's a demo for Final Fantasy 13-2 out today. You could go get that.
Blah.
You want to get that?
Blah. It's out today.
Yeah, it came out today. Yeah.
Why the hell hasn't Dale reviewed that? I don't even know if he's at CES. He ain't gonna be able to review that. I'll have to do it. Oh dear, I ain't gonna fucking do it.
Just take the score from the first one, and change the pictures.
It's a demo.
No, that's gonna piss people off. The demo.
Yeah, sorry. For some reason,
the game comes out end of the month. Yeah, I just I don't know. I'm curious to see how that does because I'm guessing that at the amount of backlash for 13, I can't imagine that SquareSoft didn't listen to some of that, and I know they've made some changes, but I just making changes to a JRPG, it's something that I'm not going to pay close enough attention to notice because I'm probably not going to play it. But
I mean, Dale loved the original anyway.
Did he?
Yeah, and
Is
he
he on
really
in
pushed
that
hard
camp?
for the review for 13 too, and I have a feeling he's going to love it. He already did a preview where he basically just said it's great. Something tells me I wouldn't agree with excuse me, sorry. Something tells me I wouldn't agree with him, but I've got more things going on in my life to waste even an hour on Final Fantasy 13.
I was at when I was at E3, we had some sort of downtime, and there was the big Square Enix sort of pavilion area, and I was like, oh, go check out some games, and I was like, oh, hey, Final Fantasy 13-2, there's no line, and then I sort of went up and I almost touched the controller, and I was like, what am I doing? You can't fucking preview a game like that on a floor. Like, that's just. I mean, I have respect for JRPGs. Like, there's a place for them, but it's just that's like reading a preview of a novel.
Yeah.
Like at the end of books when they're like, oh, here's a sneak peek of this author's upcoming second novel. And it's a fucking book. It's you can't really do that.
Well, I'm going to be interested how many reviewers say, oh, it fixes all these flaws, it fixes all of the flaws, all of the problems that 13 had. And I'll see how many reviewers that reviewed that one reviewed the original Final Fantasy 13 and gave it like a 9 or a 10 and said it was near flawless. But that would just interest me, because apparently, like with every game, 6 months, a year later, it becomes perfectly okay to say it's shit. But at the time, you're not allowed. And that's obviously the trouble I get into when I review something on the week or before release.
Oh, yeah.
But I just sit there like the tortoise in the hare. I'm like, 6 months later, all you cunts are going to agree. It's going to be popular, my opinion, just because I'm doing it first, like Gandhi.
Yeah. I think it's funny, the whole, I mean, games like I don't know, Gears of War, for instance. Obviously, it's a well-made game. I have my issues with it from a artistic, creative standpoint, but it's well made. And when it comes out, there's so much buzz around it, just hovering all around that. And there was that whole thing you had where you gave it an 8, and that was like, oh, that's bad. That's 8 is hate. That's terrible. And there was a big fiasco, and then. I feel like maybe 3 weeks passed and people had not forgotten about it per se, because obviously a lot of people were still playing it. But as far as being an event game, it seems like it came out in September, and then November happened, and boom, that was it. No one was. I mean, people are still talking about Skyrim, and people are still talking about the whole Modern Warfare, whether it's a thing or not, because obviously billions of people are playing it, but. I just think it's weird that it was kind of there, and then it wasn't. And then Bulletstorm was the same way. I got all that flack because I said some mean things about Bulletstorm, and it's a fun game. It's
all right. Yeah.
I didn't like it. I just thought it was hokey. Some parts of it was kind of disingenuous, but it worked. It was fun. People enjoyed it. But again, that was the backlash that I got for talking shit about it and then it came out, and then it got kind of a whatever reception, and then immediately it was forgotten. That was a game of 2011. That was a game of 2011, and it completely went by. That was.
Oh yeah, I mean, even with some of the big stuff, the whole Mario Kart 7 thing. It's like no one's talking about it now.
Yeah, I don't know why that was a fucking controversy anyway. It's Mario Kart 7. At this point, it's a Mario Party game.
It's a game where dinosaurs ride around in fucking Tonka trucks. Yeah. But I don't want to turn that into a whole thing again.
Who is out there yep, hardcore Mario Kart fan right here. I am a fucking hardcore Mario Kart player. I play Mario Kart games hardcore. That's what I do. It's no one does that. It's fine if you're into them. It's fine if you enjoy them. I feel like there is definitely that kind of that crowd for Super Smash Brothers, but that's almost like an ironic fighting game culture. You know, it's like you have the people who go to like Evo and stuff, and they play Street Fighter super hardcore. And then there are people who do the exact same thing, but they do it in college dorm rooms with the latest, Smash Brothers game. People get into it, but it's not like there's a level of intensity to it. But then Mario Kart, it's a kart racing game. Like Nintendo originated the genre, they made the first kart racing game, and then there was that brief period where literally fucking every franchise had a kart racing game, and then that completely died down, and Nintendo kept doing it because that was just a thing that they do.
Yeah.
And then the fact that there was a controversy surrounding your score for a fucking game where, again, monkeys drive around in little cars, it's very silly thing.
Dude, at this rate, I could say terminal cancer in a 4-year-old is tragic, and someone would still find a way to argue against that. They'd be, the 4-year-old could be Jason Voorhees, but younger. So, there you go. Jim Sterling supports murder. I could do anything. I could do anything at this rate. I could give money to a 3-legged dog so it could buy itself some food.
That'd be so funny. That'd be great.
And I would be accused of, I don't know, prostituting the dog or something.
Yeah, it's disrespectful.
Yeah. Imagine that. Imagine being a 3-legged dog prostitute pimp. 3-legged dog pimp, right? Again, sorry, I'm slurping and I'm sucking on some halls.
I like it.
Sweeties. To make better breathing in my face. But right now, I'm thinking about myself. Feathered cap. Pink suit. A whole, 10 3-legged dogs on the end of leashes. I could call myself something like Papa Saltine. Bitches.
Yeah.
Have sex with my 3-legged dogs. For money, please. That would be my sales pitch as a highfalutin pimp.
Of course.
I'd be like, if you give me some money, please, sex with one of my dogs.
Oh boy, yeah. Yeah.
Think about it. Just think about it. I'll be here all day. Outside this Walgreens.
I'd be okay with that's pretty funny. I mean, if you're gonna have sex with a dog, you might as well make it like a novelty, like a special carnival dog for sex with a dog.
One of those.
What are we doing? Fuck.
I don't know. I'm ill. I've got an excuse.
I've been playing games, as you might expect. I'm supposed to do. I played Metal Gear Solid 2. I beat that. I didn't really did I talk about that last week at all? Did I get into that?
I don't think so. The video game discussion was uncommonly light last week.
Sandra Bullock looks like she doesn't know how to have sex with people. But anyway, I've been kind of on my Metal Gear Solid quest as I was planning to do, and I beat 2, and I've forgotten exactly how much I fucking love that game. It's goddamn ridiculous, but I love it, and I finished Twin Snakes, and I immediately jumped into 2, and I'd completely forgotten parts of it. Plot twists that really don't matter in the grand scheme of things, but I'd still forgotten about them. And when they happened, I went, oh. And goofy little game mechanics like, when you have to lead Emma around and she's all sedated so that she falls over if you stop walking. But then you get to a door and she's like, "Hey, look, I have a key card. I bet you wish you had one of these. I forgot to give it to you earlier because I was sedated. Fuck me right in. I'm so lonely." But yeah, I love that game. It's so fucking retarded. Like Metal Gear, in itself, it's like it's like if Wikipedia and a Michael Bay movie and a teen drama TV show and like anime had a baby. It's just such a fucking you're about to go into like a room full of like deoxygenated water where a fucking vampire is there when he has knives that he will throw at you, and they have the president held hostage because they have a robot that looks like a dinosaur that shoots fucking nuclear missiles out of it.
Yeah.
And you're about to go in there and deal with this fucking situation, and your girlfriend calls you up and she's like, "Hey, so I thought it was weird when I went in your room that one time you didn't have anything hanging up there." And you're like, seriously? Really? And she's like, "You never talk about your childhood." And you're like, there is a fat guy in rollerblades who is drunk, going around putting bombs everywhere. And when I'm talking drunk, I'm talking fucking drinking wine through a curly straw drunk. This man is out of his fucking mind. He is crazy. And I have to go spray computer air duster on the bombs so that they don't blow up. And she's
Yeah.
like, Jack, I want you to paint me like one of your French girls. And yeah, but anyway, I like I said, I love Metal Gear
Yeah.
Solid. I think it's wonderful.
Imagine if Ghost in the Shell had sex with the magic school bus. You've
Yeah.
imagined Metal Gear Solid.
Did you know that those seagulls were once called ocean birds? It's true. There's a here. Let me tell you facts about it. Anyway, I'm playing the third one now. I started that. And everyone, I haven't played the third one. I played little bits of it. I've played at a friend's house a long time ago, so it's completely new to me. And I'm not sure if I like it. I'm going to be honest.
Hold on. Fucking what?
I know, right? I mean, I like it. I respect it. It's good. It's. I can see how it's enjoyable, but personally, it is a really weird jump to go immediately from 2 into 3. Especially after doing 1, then 2, and then all of a sudden it's boom 3. And I think that, I mean, obviously Kojima always has a message slipped into his games. Like the second one was examining the gamer as a gamer, and it was just a repeat of the first one, but it was looking at the character dynamics, and it's like, do you really want to be this action hero? Do you want to be a soldier? And then there's all this shit about information and freedom and bullshit like that. And after the second one, he was like, "Yeah, I don't really want to do a sequel to that. I'm tired of Metal Gear Solid." And everyone's like, "What? What the fuck is your problem? Do it. You left a what is going to happen
Dude
to
got
Olga's
death
baby?"
threats.
Yeah, I'm sure, because people are fucking retarded.
Yeah,
But
pretty much.
and so he was like, "Oh, fuck, fine, God, fucking damn it. Okay, fine. I'll do a third one." And then it's a prequel. He likes to fuck with his audience, I think, or he likes to do his own thing, which just happens to fuck with his audience. And you see that because if you start up 3 and you're like, oh, I like Metal Gear Solid 2, it starts out and fucking Snake is dressed up like goddamn Raiden, and he's being referred to as Jack. And I wonder how many people's hearts just sank when they saw that, and they were just like, not again.
I think because you see Kojima do that, you see Valve do that. I just think when you become a developer and you get that kind of fan, that kind of fan, the really weird, anal, obsessive-y
Oh yeah.
freak show of a fan who will freak out when you do good things, I think all that's left is to troll them. I think the only release they get, because they can't step away from the series. Valve can never leave Half-Life, just like Kojima can never leave Metal Gear Solid. They're tied to it forever, and the fans won't let them go. So the best they can do is fuck with the fans' heads while they're trapped in that bubble. It's like, dude, if you're going to keep me trapped in here, I am going to be like Hannibal Lecter and fuck with your mind from behind the fucking jail cell you put me in. And I think that's what it is. I think Hannibal Lecter is Hideo Kojima.
Yeah, I could see that. The fact that I hate prequels. Prequels, as a thing, prequels are such a stupid thing. Like, they are. I don't know why nobody ever is like, oh, do you remember like Baby Flintstone, Muppet Babies? There was like Kid Flintstones. There was a pup named Scooby Doo.
Tom and Jerry kids.
Yeah,
Nearly all Hanna-Barbera. Don't get me started on Hanna-Barbera. In fact, I'll carry on with your point, and then I'm going to let them have it.
Okay, those are. I mean, and then there's like baby Mickey and Minnie, and there's that stupid shit, and that is a fucking X-Men Evolution. They're teens. Those are all prequels in a sense, but for some reason, when people are like, oh yeah, no, I know, Ridley Scott's like, I'm gonna make a fucking prequel to Alien and a prequel to Blade Runner, and then Kojima's like, yeah, it's a prequel to Metal Gear. It's just like, we've already been told, as human beings, we've already established that there is no Santa Claus and there is no Easter Bunny, and that was a crappy thing for us. I don't know why anybody would want to go and purposely fuck everything up. It's such a, like, I'm okay with retcon, retroactive continuity. You can go back and you can change things and add stuff. That's always interesting. Not always, sometimes it can be done very well, but having a prequel, it is filling in a gap that does not need to be there, and Muppet Babies was bullshit. Jim?
9 times out of 10, totally agree with you. Nobody needed to see that Darth Vader was a wanker. Nobody needed to see that Boba Fett was a wanker. George Lucas just makes wanker characters, basically. His characters like Darth Vader and Boba Fett worked because they had no personality in those films. They were just cool badasses in masks.
Yeah.
But when George Lucas makes a character, he makes a wanker. And nobody needed to see it. And nobody needs...
I think that Patton Oswalt nailed it with that. He was just like, Lucas is like, oh, hey, you like Darth Vader? Well, here's Darth Vader as a little kid. You like Boba Fett? Here's Boba Fett as a little kid. And you're like, no, I like those guys when they were those guys, which is, that's what it is, Oh, guess who's here?
Oh, how'd you know I was here?
I'm fucking magical.
That started another recording. This is bullshit. Why does it do... Only does it with Jonathan. Only starts a new recording with Jonathan. I don't know what that is. But anyway, the point I was going to get to is, nobody needs to see Darth Vader as a kid. Nobody needs to know where the aliens come from. It's scarier to think that the Xenomorphs are just animals out there in space like us, I'm pretty glad he's kind of dropped to that, Ridley Scott, and he's... Because I quite like the idea of a prequel set in that universe, but not involving the aliens. That's cool.
Is that what Prometheus is? Is that
that's that's Prometheus.
It looks badass, but it's just totally unnecessary.
But in as far as Snake Eater goes, keep giving it a chance, because that is one of the prequels that absolutely works. Mostly because it just tells its own story,
Yeah.
It only really gives a hint towards the end about some of the motivation of Big Boss.
Yeah.
The rest of it is a self-contained story.
I guess it's just interesting because it feels as though playing the game knowing that Kojima didn't want to make it and playing it immediately after playing the second one, and of course you've got clones involved, so you can kind of write that off. But it's still Solid Snake. It just feels like it shouldn't have been Snake. It feels like this could have been a totally original game that was about being in the woods and in the Cold War, and it didn't. Like, it feels like it could have been sort of like, it's a game where you have to eat animals and you have to sneak around and you have to burn leeches off with a cigar and suture your wounds and do stuff like that.
My advice to you: stamina kill all the bosses to get their unique camouflage, because that can add some fun. Always use your radio. Always call paramedic whenever you capture a new animal or kill a new animal, get new food. Whenever you get new weapons and stuff, call SIGINT. Just keep calling those guys and just living in the jungle like a badass. And any idea that Kojima didn't want to make it completely disappears, because there is so much detail and love and hilarity in that game. It is...
I'm saying he didn't want to make a Metal Gear game.
Right, he was done with Metal Gear, and then they forced him back.
It's definitely a game he wanted to make, and you can tell that. Like, Boktai was a game he wanted to make, but that wasn't a Zone of the Enders game, And it would have been really weird if it was some kind of tacked-on thing where you're like, yeah, you're a robot, and you have to fight vampires, and you need to go outside with your PlayStation 2 to get sunlight to charge up your ray gun. Like, he's, I think it could have been a very weird sort of like a woodsman game, Oh yeah, I'm in the woodsman.
I said when I was replaying the HD collection for the review, I was like, dude, if this game was just about eating animals and talking to a paramedic about animals, I'd be all for that.
Also, I love playing it
after. It's great.
After Skyrim, because it's basically the same. I'm like, ooh, an animal, I'm going to eat it. Oh, look at that lovely shrub. Oh, hey, I have a torch, I'm going to wave it around at this crab. Like, it's a nature sim. It's a hiking simulator,
Jonathan Holmes.
Yes.
What do you think of Hanna-Barbera?
Hanna-Barbera World of Super Adventure, or just all of Hanna-Barbera?
Just all of Hanna-Barbera.
I wanted to talk about Metal Gear. I like talking about Metal Gear. I'll talk about Hanna-Barbera first, though.
What do you think about Hanna-Barbera, Jonathan Holmes?
Yeah, talk about Hanna-Barbera Lecter.
Hanna-Barbera, when I was young and thought I knew it all, I said Hanna-Barbera is no good because their drawings and their animations are not as technically well-crafted.
Jonathan Holmes, you're absolutely right. Straight from the horse's mouth there, Jonathan Holmes agrees with me. Hanna-Barbera is shit. Don't finish the sentence, Jonathan. Just stop it right there. Hanna-Barbera is fucking shite. I've always wanted to talk about this. I've always wanted to get it off my chest. And thank you, Jonathan Holmes, for bringing Hanna-Barbera up so I could talk.
That's how I felt when I was young and I didn't understand character design.
Shush.
Right. Okay.
Here's my impression of Hanna-Barbera, Jonathan Holmes. Hello, I am Hanna-Barbera. Don't worry, it's both of us, right? In some one animal thing, like
Anna,
Arnold Schwarzenegger in Total Recall. Like one's inside the other one, and he says, "Get ready for a surprise," and his head blows up. So that's Hanna-Barbera, right? I am Hanna-Barbera. I'm going to do a show about an animal that talks and some kids that solve mysteries. That one's a dog. I'm going to do that exact same fucking show again with a different dog. I'm going to do that exact same show again with a dead ghost cat. And then I'm going to do another show, which is the only funny show I've ever fucking done, which is Tom and Jerry, but only some of them that are the funny ones. A cat and a mouse fighting each other, right? I'm going to do that again.
It's brutal.
With 2 mice. That's fine, right?
Who are those guys again?
I'm going to do a family, Jonathan Holmes. They're cavemen. Then I'm going to do that again, but now they're in the future.
Can I just say...
I'm not done yet, Max.
Oh, for fuck's sake.
Wasn't the Flintstones just the honeymooners?
This is important what I'm doing.
I'm helping you. The Flintstones is just the honeymooners.
Just the honeymooners, right? I'm going to do that again. Now I'm going to do another one, right, where Dick Dastardly, right, is in cars with other cars, and he tries to cheat in a race, right? Going to do that again, but this time it's in space with some other bearded man playing the baddie, right? Then it is in space. I'm going to do that again, but now it is Yogi's Lap Olympics. Exactly the same thing. Now I'm going to take all of these ideas of mine, do them again, but now they're all kids. I am Hanna-Barbera, and I am fucking shit.
What's the one with the kids?
Scooby-Doo is not scary, nor is it funny. What is the point of it?
Scooby-Doo as a concept is fucking, like, ingenious. It is a brilliant, brilliant scheme. It's just a pity that the delivery was so off.
Dude,
I've heard those stupid rumors. Dude, it's a bunch of it's like the Hardy Boys if they were fucking stupid hippies.
Whoa.
It is dumb hippies who solve mystery. Like
Hanna-Barbera are fucking shit, so they can't do it.
give me Tarantino's Scooby-Doo. Like they've done it. They did it on the Venture Brothers pretty well, where they had like where they had like a parody of Scooby-Doo, and it's like a bunch of people. It's like the Manson family driving around in a fucking van, and Freddy's like, "Hey guys, let's break into that factory," and it's and Velma's like the crazy lesbian, and Daphne's like really just like scared shitless of Freddy. Meanwhile, Shaggy is just a fucking acid casualty who talks to his dog, who for some reason has a German accent.
Wow.
I mean, you've effectively got I forget what episode that's in. It's in the Venture Brothers. It's a brilliant parody. But I just love that idea, and I feel like that could be totally fleshed out. But like a realistic interpretation of pretty much any Hanna-Barbera cartoon, where it's like what? How did they make the Scooby-Doo guys? Did they make money solving mysteries, or was it like tornado chasers who were just a bunch of fucking weirdos in a van who were just like, oh yeah.
Any Hanna-Barbera cartoon done by someone who isn't Hanna-Barbera is gonna be funnier.
Whoa.
Because Hanna-Barbera are fucking shit. Have I established that bit yet?
How about a serious... I mean, fucking hot... what is it? Speed Buggy. Speed Buggy was basically Knight Rider. But
didn't they solve mysteries too?
Yeah, it was a talking car, and they solved mysteries.
Right, and I guess Knight Rider solves mysteries.
Knight Rider, man.
Yeah, I think Speed Buggy came first, though, right?
Exactly. I'm just saying. Yeah. Like, I mean,
it's that old philosophical question: what came first, Speed Buggy or Knight Rider?
And it's deep.
I mean, we know. In that case, we know. So that
what I want to see is Jabberjaw. I want to see like a realistic Jabberjaw, where that show makes no sense. They were like, "Hey, man, remember Scooby-Doo? Okay, well, what if Scooby-Doo was in the future and everyone lived underwater in sea labs, and instead of a Great Dane, it is a fucking giant great white shark that thinks it's one of the Three Stooges."
Yeah, basically, we're going to do that again, but with a shark now.
No.
Oh, wait a minute, that's too original. Let's have him copy a comedian and say, "I get no respect."
That would have been good. Did they ever do a Rodney Dangerfield ripoff?
No, that's what Jabberjaw does, isn't it?
I mean, no, he's currently Three Stooges.
Give me like...
Which one says... There is a one Hanna-Barbera character that says, "I get no respect."
I believe you.
That's Rover Dangerfield, probably.
Oh no, it's the Funky Phantom, I think. No, it's not the Funky Phantom. I'm sorry.
It's one of them.
Yeah, Funky Phantom's cool though.
I'm sure I've
Right.
heard Jabberjaw say it. Maybe it was like a composite of the Three Stooges.
Maybe it's because Jabberjaw literally gets no respect. He's just a hated creature.
Well, he is a shark who should be threatening to
Oh,
people.
he's the
Realize
natural enemy
how
of the human.
Fucking
Right, and
terrifying.
people do not take him
How
seriously.
terrifying would it be for it would be like Deep Blue Sea, but like turned up to 11 with a live action Jabberjaw. Like the shark is so smart and it walks and they drive around a little car together and the shark would be like they'd have to feed it weird shit. They'd have to give it like they have to spray it down and it would be sort of talking, but it would be like Sloth from the Goonies, but it would be a shark and it would have like disgusting mutant teeth and like a totally fucked up bone structure.
It would
'cause
know-
it's sort of
Like Curly, or
Because it would know how to talk, but it wouldn't have the physical capability of, articulating speech.
it would talk like Lou Ferrigno. It would like
Yeah.
sound like its tongue was swollen.
I would like to call this show...
Jabberjaw, I'm a shark that I was just genetically engineered in the lab. I was going to...
Also, if it's trying to... It tries, like, instinctively to walk on its, like, tail, but, its whole skeleton is cartilage. That shit's just gonna bend and break. So it's like bending and breaking, falling on the floor, going, oh. I would call this show the Shark Mistake. I think that's what we should call it, and we should
Shark
pitch this.
machine.
what a sickening combination! You'd pity it and fear it at the same time, like to the same
I am a
amount.
shark, and I must scream.
So I got a question. I got a thing. Have I told you guys about my Incredible Hulk liquor store guy?
What?
There's a guy I go to my corner store down the street from my house where I go in and buy my snack chips and liquor. It is a man who is like the Middle Eastern Incredible Hulk. He is like a fucking cartoon character. He's incredible. He looks like a sort of like a Bulgarian Lou Ferrigno with like a ponytail, and he's just like super fucking ripped, like probably roided out because he's got a lot of acne. And I go in there and he's like, "Oh, hey, how are you doing? How's it going today?" But he's got that kind of like Lou Ferrigno voice. And I just like I look at the guy and I'm like, this guy could fucking like he could crush like oil drums on his head if he wanted to.
Wow.
You know,
Sounds like a Street Fighter character, kind
he's
of.
so badass. I want to put him in like a movie or a video game or something and just have him there because he's pretty scary. But we go in there, we'll talk to him, and Jen's always super friendly with him when we go in there. And she started talking to him, and he's like,
"Oh, let me show you a picture of my boy."
and he brings out this picture of his baby. And he's like,
"Here's my pride and joy." And we're like,
Why is he doing that?
And he's just like we're like talking about his kids. And he's a nice dude.
Aw, that's nice.
And whenever we go in there, we'll like ask him stuff. And then the other day we go in there, and again, this is like a corner store, dude. Like the fucking, it's like we're not expecting like this guy to have crazy like plans or something. We went in there on New Year's Eve. And we were like, "Hey man, what's up? How's it going? Are you working all night?" He's like,
"Yeah, we're going to be here until 2 in the morning."
and I'm like, "Okay, that's cool, man. Okay." And he, meanwhile, he crushes like 5 bottles with his bare hands, and I'm like, "That's awesome." And then
What? Was he
and
really
he-
doing that, or are you just imagining
no,
that?
I'm adding that
Oh.
for effect. He's
Yeah, why
like
not?
he's just like rending a girder while he's saying this. And so we're like, "Oh, that sucks, man. We're sorry, sorry you can't go out and do stuff on New Year's Eve." He's like,
"Oh no, if I tell you what I have planned, you'll be jealous."
and we're like, "What is it?" And he's like,
"I'm going on this 3-week trip to Dubai."
and we're like, "You're going to Dubai?" And he's like,
"Yes, I'm going to
and he like lists off like fucking 8 European countries, and he's like,
but mostly I'm going to Dubai."
and I'm like, "You're going to fucking Dubai?" Like, and I picture this guy in Dubai, and I'm just like, wow, he's not my liquor store guy. He's a fucking terrifying Bond villain. Like I just imagine him in like a fucking a suit, and all of a sudden he's Jaws from like Thunderball. Like he's scary. Like he's not just like the dude who I buy fucking 40s from. He is going up in a glass elevator, and he's standing directly behind like fucking Telly Savalas or whatever. And he's a goon. He's a scary supervillain. The point of my story is my liquor store guy is a badass.
You should get him in a video.
I want
there's
to.
a Street Fighter character who's a Turkish oil wrestler named Hakan, who is gigantic and muscular, but friendly with a Middle Eastern accent. And you could get him to do that for a cool video. Super cool video you could make about that. Max.
Wow.
Yes.
I'm like afraid to
Excuse
ask
me,
him.
sir. You're Turkish, are you not? Don't worry about it, mate. You're fucking Turkish. Get this oil, slap it.
Excuse me, are you the Iron Sheik?
Yeah, just ask him if he is. And no matter what he says afterwards,
Yeah.
great. Put this oil on your body. I'm getting the video camera out now. Don't just lock
It's
up the
alright.
store. Just make the video.
Literally the only
Racial profiling is funny, isn't it? What? No, I didn't say anything. Get the oil on, sir.
the thing that would be really the only thing that would not be like pants shittingly terrifying about this man covered in oil is the fact that if he suddenly grabbed you in his like his fucking jaws of life fingers, you would probably be able to slip out with, a few broken bones. But yeah,
Sounds great. I want to meet
Sounds
him.
like a fun dude.
Yeah, I like him already.
he's the Juggernaut.
Oh yeah, I like the Juggernaut. They got a soccer player to play the Juggernaut in the movie,
I know.
though, didn't they?
I've met him. I met him.
What was he like?
Big old. He's a giant man. He's very scary. He's scarier in real life than he is as the Juggernaut.
Vinnie Jones is a very well-known actor in the United Kingdom.
Oh, is that right?
He's a very well-known footballer too. He's got the record for the fastest red card in soccer or something. Like he got. There's a picture of him where there's a guy, coming up behind him to get the ball or whatever, and he's standing there and he has his hand down, and the guy's right behind him, and he's just grabbing the guy by the balls, and the guy just has this look on his face. The man whose balls, Vinnie Jones. He just like grabs.
Why did he grab a balls?
Because he doesn't give a shit. He literally doesn't care about anything.
He's a badass. So he just fucking grabs the guy by the balls, and Vinnie Jones has got this maybe you were watching Dragon Ball Z and the phone rang, so you hit pause and you come back and there's just a screenshot of someone like screaming at the top of their lungs while a planet explodes in the background, and that's Vinnie Jones's face. And then you look at the guy whose balls he's grabbing, and the guy it's like you told him that not only did his wife die, his wife was killed by the flying corpse of his grandmother. Like it's this like ultimate tragedy moment. It's like you never see a Mortal Kombat fatality in real life until you Google, Vinnie Jones grabbing nuts.
So it wasn't like an accidental, he's just trying to pat you on the thigh and accidentally just grab.
No, when Vinnie Jones grabs your balls, he's going in for the kill.
And what would someone have to do to deserve that? To inspire?
Be near him. That's basically, how he is the Juggernaut in X-Men. That is him in real life. They didn't write that character for him. That is Vinnie Jones.
Do you know where I met him?
Wait, no.
I met him in a bar in LA. And as you know, in America, the drinking age is 21, and you can't, and in the UK it's what, like 18?
Yeah.
Jim? Yeah. So, you know who was in the bar with him drinking? His 16-year-old son. You know why? Because no one is going to say, "Oh, hi, Vinnie Jones. You can't bring," and then it doesn't matter what it is in here.
Yeah. You get as far as you, and he'd be like, "You fucking what?"
It could bring a fucking atomic bomb in a baby carriage, and if Vinnie Jones was pushing it into your bar, you'd be like, "Oh, sorry, Vinnie Jones, you can't bring that atomic bomb in here." And he'd just look at you, He'd bring the atomic bomb in and feed it drinks.
Dude, he could get a lifetime membership with Al-Qaeda and still be allowed on planes.
Mm-hmm.
He could be the voted president of Al-Qaeda and still get on plane. And he could if he wanted to as well. It's not like Al-Qaeda were going to stop him. They're going to be like, "Are you a Muslim?" No. Fair enough. Here is, your card and decoder ring. Welcome to Al-Qaeda.
Secret decoder ring. Yeah, for the codes.
Yeah, that's your fucking fault.
He sounds like that guy you worked with. Didn't you work with a guy who talked like that too, Jim?
Yeah.
I like that guy.
Basically anyone in Britain who I am scared of talks.
I like that talking. Should I talk about Metal Gear? You guys got to talk about Metal Gear.
We really did work hard to get all the video game discussion away before you turned up.
This was planned.
Let me just say something.
Don't blaspheme. Don't blaspheme.
I am saying that a lot lately.
Dirty, potty-mouthed little lad.
You godless communist.
I still don't understand why the Lord would mind me saying his name.
Because he's the Lord!
But doesn't he like his name? I'd love it if people were to just say my name, at times.
Dude,
when they're emotional. That would be great.
He gets pissed off when two people who love each other want to get married. He's going to get pissed off if you say Jesus Christ. Don't say it. I can say it. I'm an ordained cleric.
I used to love clerics.
You'll notice that I said cleric because I almost said clerk, and then I remembered halfway through that they just take money and let you buy things.
I would like to see a remake of the film Clerks, but with like clerics, like with a couple mages, and they're just sitting there.
Yeah, I love clerics because I was terrified of zombies growing up, and clerics are the natural enemy of zombies, as it turns out. So I'm a big cleric fan. Metal Gear. Here's why Metal Gear Solid 3 is a valid Metal Gear game.
Okay, I'm timing you here, by the way.
All right, yeah, I can do this quick.
Yeah,
I'm not going to take up too much time with this video game talk. So Metal Gear, at its core, is a tribute to American action films, and they'd already done a lot of espionage stuff. They'd already done, obviously, Escape from New York and some John Carpenter type stuff. But they wanted to get into some Rambo type stuff, which is another... Konami has always kind of loved Rambo anyway. And as you probably know, Solid Snake looked like Rambo in the original version of Metal Gear, and Big Boss looked like Sean Connery. So they've always wanted to get back to Rambo, but they didn't have the opportunity until they put him in the woods in a survival setting. And if you watch Rambo again, or I'm sorry, if you watch First Blood again, you'll see that it's a lot like Metal Gear Solid 3 in terms of tone and him just, silently wandering around the woods and trying to survive for a long time. So it's got a big Rambo influence, which is true to the Metal Gear spirit, and it also has the underlying, man versus his government. Can we trust these big organizations that are supposed to control?
And a lot of James Bond as well.
Right, a lot of James Bond in terms of the music, particularly. So
I was so fucking mad at people being like, "No, it's a James Bond game," and I'm like, "You don't know what you're talking about."
No, it's got James Bond references, and you can see influences, but no, it's not a James Bond game.
No,
that's retarded.
Kojima pretty overtly says in the dialogue that he thinks James Bond is kind of whatever, Like, I just got to the part where in the codec, the what's her bitch fucking paramedic is like, "Have you seen any of this, From Russia with Love?" And Snake's like, "I might have missed that one." And then Major Tom or Zero or whoever is just like, "Are you guys talking about James Bond? Can I come in here and talk to you? I bought the film. I love it very much." Yeah, I read all the James Bond books. Yeah, they're like, it's like very kind of the espionage is all very like not in jungles.
Yeah,
there's some outdoorsy stuff, but
Metal Gear Solid isn't a James Bond game until Solid Snake is literally running around raping women.
Yeah,
because that also is in the James Bond books. James Bond is technically a rapist.
Can you eat butter? Can you eat straight butter and then wash it down with like a pint of scotch in Snake Eater? Because if you can't do that and then have sex with 3 women at once, then it's not a James Bond.
And then you've got to be incredibly racist, which I don't think the series has been.
You want to hear a fun fact about James Bond?
Absolutely.
In Dr. No, everyone's seen the movie. That's the first James Bond movie. It's actually like the 3rd or 4th James Bond book. A big thing of that is how Dr. No, and they sort of touch on it in the movie, but they don't really emphasize it. And besides the fact the actor wasn't Chinese, he's supposed to be like a Chinese communist. Dr. No is supposed to be an Asian dude.
Oh, right.
In the book, it talks about how all of his henchmen are. I think they call them Chinegros or yeah,
something like that. That. Yeah.
Made up
it's seriously they're half Chinese and half half black.
Also, the biological description of them from. I'm paraphrasing. It was something like this. It was like they've got all the sly intelligence of the Chinaman mixed with the low cunning of the black man. That's in the book as a fucking biological description.
There is so much just like unbridled racism and sexism in the James Bond books.
Ian Fleming's idea of like the perfect machine of evil is this half Chinese, half black man.
The Chinegro,
and more street smart.
Is it Chegro? I forget if he says like Chegro or Chinegro, but either way, it's like it's pretty like like I listened to the audiobook of it, and I pretty much had to cover my mouth with my hand when I was listening to it because it's just like offensive. Also, he fights an octopus at the end, which is so cool. And
Fist fights like Popeye did.
I think he like stabs it in the face. Like
And this is why we look up to James Bond and not the KKK. If they carried on with all, the cross burnings, the lynchings, whatever, but every 3 years punch an octopus in the face, then I think they'd have a lot more people on their side.
There's one where where he's
It's
like,
a very strong point. That's what Kramer should have done when he was on that stage and he was shouting words at those,
Richards.
at the black people. If he'd have just then stormed off the stage and just kicked a squid in the bollocks, he'd have been back on TV before you know it. We'd have carried him through the street, given him a key to the city.
yeah.
Just put him in a wrestling ring against any large mollusk, and we would forget all about that time Michael Richards was a racist. He would be known as fucking Squid Hunter.
Yes. Another thing that's really funny is in the James Bond books, there's like so much blatant product placement.
Oh yeah.
I mean, it would be like a Michael Bay movie if we made it if they made it faithfully. But it's constantly talking about how he's got like a Rolex watch and it's a Benson and Hedges lighter, or he smokes this brand of cigarettes, except if he's in the States, and then he smokes Chesterfields unfiltered, and then he has this kind of scotch, and then he has this brand of wine with dinner, and he drives an Aston Martin, and like it's. If you've ever read American Psycho, and he just goes very detailed, lists every single brand name he wears and all the different designers and stuff, James Bond is like that too.
Oh, yeah.
There's a lot of detail on the stuff that really doesn't have a whole lot to do with the part where he's fighting communists or Smesh, the Soviet Navy SEALs kind of guys. But
I know it's not a lot of product placement for condoms.
Yeah,
he wouldn't want them. It's uncomfortable for him. Why should he? It's her job to deal with it later with a coat hanger.
Also, if the most faithful adaptation they've done was Casino Royale, the new one with Daniel Craig. That's the first book, and it's pretty awesome because he actually falls in love with that chick on his first mission, and he's like, oh yeah, I'm James Bond. Oh, this chick, I'm gonna fall in love with her. Oh yeah, it's Vesper Lind. Oh, she's wonderful. And then they're just like, just kidding. She's a communist. She's dead. And now he's like,
drowned?
Oh wow,
she drowns too, right? And
yeah,
is communist?
Yeah, there's some shit. Yeah, something like that.
Yeah,
I forget. I get the movie and the book mixed up because I've seen the movie too many times since. But
fair enough.
Yeah, it's pretty intense. And then he's basically like, oh, I love her. Oh, just kidding. I hate all the women. I hate them all. I have to fuck them all. Smoke all these cigarettes.
He's not that awesome to me, James Bond. I like some James Bond movies a lot. And I like some things that James Bond does, but as a role model, as a symbol of what a man should be, he sucks bad.
What's your idea of a role model, Jonathan Holmes? Of a symbol of a man? What a man should be? Yeah.
That's a good one. I don't really like any men. I'm kind of sexist against men. I don't know if you knew that. My first guess is that a man is going to be worse than I want him to be when I first meet him. So I got some discrimination issues to work out there. I do.
I'm with you on that. Actually.
They kind of suck, right?
Most of the men I've gotten to meet, like, the vast majority of them have been arseholes. Because I grew up around a succession of just wanker guys, and
sure.
I went to an all-boys school. Surrounded by the type of boys that go to all boys schools. A Grant-maintained all boys school, i.e. common shit. I don't want to look down on my class roots, but I am better than that now. I'm upper middle class. Fuck 'em.
Wow. You're upper middle class? I didn't know that, Jim. That's great.
Dude, I'm in Mississippi. I'm fucking royalty around here. I've got more breeding in my cock than... And that didn't even make sense. More breeding in my
That's why it meant so much
my
for me.
poos from my bum than the poorest tramp on London streets has more breeding than the poshest aristocrat in Mississippi.
Wow.
But no, I'm upper middle class. I've got a good income, so I'm out of that now. I no longer have to eat turkey Twizzlers while living off government checks like everyone
wouldn't that be
Yeah.
great if there were government checks, but it wasn't so much like a check that they pay you, but it was like, here you go, you get a block of government cheese, and here are some government checks. You may use them to make government checks mix if you insist. I'm sorry, money is tight. The economy sucks. We would have given you, bold party flavor government checks, but instead you get stuck with cheddar, bland old fucking cheddar government checks mix.
I like it. I like
That's a good future.
I like
As
blondes.
far as-
Sometimes
Blondes? Yeah. Mm?
I've got a role model for all men.
You do?
I've got a role model for you. And it's funny because you were taking his name in vain earlier. Because as you know, I'm a devout Christian.
Santa Claus.
Actually, no. I want us all to think now on this holy day. About
It's a holy day today?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It is like Christmas 2, Die Harder. Right? And I want us all to think about... I'm being serious, okay?
I know, I can tell.
I'm bearing my soul. So I want us all to think about the baby Jesus, okay?
You're the baby Jesus.
I want us to think about, don't grimace like that, Max. This is important.
I don't like thinking about
I
babies.
look, we are all thinking about baby Jesus because I want to ask Jonathan Holmes, is it paedophilia or not? Because technically, he's not human.
Okay, wait. Is it pedophilia for you to be
God damn it.
thinking...
Stick my penis.
Okay, that is
Stick
it.
my
Stop that.
penis in baby
Stop.
Jesus' mouth.
God damn it, Jim.
Wow.
God, this.
Wow.
I should jump off this ship before it sinks completely.
Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. I know where we're going. Have I ever steered us wrong?
No.
No.
I don't know why we let you steer in the first place. You've obviously been drinking.
Double
He's the boss. It's all right.
doubled Podtoid's listenership since I became host.
Yes, you have.
Don't ever insinuate I don't have a plan. I am very much like God in that respect. I have a plan for us all,
fucking God.
and that plan is good. So Jonathan Holmes, in keeping with the plan, with the
Right.
hokey
I feel like in Mississippi, like we don't live in Mississippi, so we can't see what you do, but I feel like when you're not posting to Destructoid, you don like a big fancy cape and a tricorner hat and you just go around town and people are like, there goes that old Professor Sterling. He sure is a crazy one. And you're always putting up weird scrolls on the town bulletin board and they're like, just wait until he leaves and take it down. It's just some bullshit about how there should be a town meeting. There's no town hall. There's a community center, but it's just like parading around like you're the town crier.
I may do that. That's not the point, anyway. That isn't the point. The point is Jonathan.
You go down to the duck pond in the park and you issue fines to the ducks for not wearing trousers and shit like that. You know, you're just like, oh, I'm the constable of this town, and they're like, we have fucking state police. Like what? You're just, they just let you do your thing, because
I'm a very respected professional. That's not true anyway. When I'm not posting to Destructoid, I'm just watching Jonathan Holmes' Twitter feed. In several tabs. I have to open it about 5. I'll have 5 tabs open because some of those tabs update faster than others. So, and I want to make sure I'm there, I want up
What
to the
inspired
very
you to
second
do-
Holmes.
What made you want
I
to...
had a thing.
What?
I want to talk. I want to ask. Jonathan Holmes. Jonathan Holmes.
Yes, Max.
Okay, so you're saying that you don't like a lot of guys that, as like a lot of guys, especially. I can see why you don't like the fucking the Nathan Drakes and the Duke of Nukem's and all those guys. Because they're just, it's a lot of testosterone. And that doesn't necessarily...
I like testosterone fine. I like, actually...
it's misuse of it, kind of
I like Lou Ferrigno a lot. Classic Lou Ferrigno in Pumping Iron. He's a good guy in that.
Okay.
He's got tons of testosterone. I like Obi-Wan Kenobi all across the board. Just think he's good.
Well, that's interesting.
Yeah, there are some I can come up with. I just wasn't thinking very quickly before. But I'm sorry, I cut off your question, Max.
It wasn't so much a question. I think it's an interesting discussion topic of the idea of the male role model. And how James Bond is very much not a good one. He's kind of a flawed character, and as a hero, it's not really so much a good one.
Right. He sort of sucks. Indiana Jones is all right.
Indiana Jones is a really good kind of happy medium because he's like a good. It's like not being a misogynist, but not being like a pushover wiener either.
He's intellectual. He works legit on stuff. He's selfless, but he's also kind of wouldn't quite call him an artist, but he cares about stuff that there's no logical reason to care about that, which is one of the traits I think an artist has. Is so like why
Passionate.
exactly, and he follows his passions, and he's good to people. He's all right.
Yeah. I
he's
hate
much
the
better than Han Solo. That guy's a dick.
I feel like what?
Han Solo's
Really?
a dick.
He is kind
Hardcore
of a
dick.
he's kind of a dick.
Yeah,
but he's
he
not like a
sucks.
hardcore dick.
He's a pretty much total dick.
But he
He just is.
changes.
He gets
changes.
better.
He gets
And
better.
the more, yeah,
What,
he gets-
see, that's actually kind of a flawed thing to discuss because Han Solo, because fucking Lucas pretty much phoned it in with the characters in Jedi. In Empire, in the first Star Wars, Han Solo's like, oh, he's kind of a fucking mercenary. We met him in a fucking bar in Tijuana. Like he's a scumbag. Like if this was any other director's movie, he would be played by Danny Trejo. Like Han Solo shows, he's kind of a prick.
Yeah.
And then he's basically like, oh, hey, this fucking rich chick, I'm gonna try and bang her, even though I'm being mean to her the whole time. And then he sort of is like. He goes through this stupid ordeal with this fucking this stupid small town guy and this like crazy old man and this like fucking politically active Trustafarian chick, and he's just like, God damn, I just want to take my giant dog and just go back and do my crimes. He wants to go back to make his money, but there's that little glimmer of conscience. And then in the second one, he's like, yeah, I swear to I'm trying. I don't want to be an ass. I don't want to be a fucking nice guy. Like I'm just doing this. Like these people like, and he's all torn up about it. And there's that whole scene where he's just like helping Princess Leia, and he's like, yeah, you don't want to. You're afraid I was going to leave without giving you a kiss, and that's just him lashing out because he's not good at dealing with the fact that he isn't an asshole. And this could have been wonderfully expanded on if George Lucas wasn't a fucking
Jedi,
retard. In Jedi, he just becomes this fucking bumbling goon. Like he's just like an idiot in Return of the Jedi,
Yeah.
Like he steps on a stick and then looks down at him and then gets kicked in the face by a stormtrooper. Like he's just getting shown up left and right. He can't keep up with the fact that Leia and Luke aren't fucking. He's like, hey, I don't know if you just guys have something going on. It's just,
yeah, that scene's embarrassing. Yeah,
because Stallone auditioned for the role of Han Solo, and you totally could picture him in Return of the Jedi. Not so much the other scenes, but like when he's just like, if you guys want to go off and fuck each other, that's fine. I fuck my sister all the time. It was very cool. I guess they put me in a block of metal, and I just came out half my face is frozen. That's
Oh yeah, he's blind for a lot of that one too. Just bumbling around. Yeah, it's a shame. They could have redeemed him and had him really prove that if you connect with other people, you can go from being a total selfish prick to a really upstanding dude. But in his shining moment in Jedi, he just turns into an unbelievable.
He's an ace pilot. And instead of being like, oh, hey, how about that fucking like ace pilot smuggler dude who really knows how to handle that Millennium Falcon? How about we, loan that ship to the guy who betrayed us, and then the random Celestian navigator Nia Nund, who doesn't even speak a language that anyone can understand. I
love that guy. Yeah,
that guy's hilarious.
Yeah,
this guy's awesome. Hat. Yeah, and he's just like, and Lando's like, sure. I guess. Are we having sex later? Maybe. Are you a girl? Like, what the fuck is going on there?
I do like Lando.
Sit there like, let's send that fucking the Corellian smuggler. Let's send him to the woods. I mean, that doesn't make any sense.
Wander around.
Don't they have anyone in the Rebel Alliance who knows like about like warfare in like a jungle or something? Like the guy smuggles drugs.
Yeah, it worked for the story. It really worked for him to have that moment with Leia in the tree fort, just looking at her and saying, well, if you don't like me, that's okay.
Yeah. But the point of what I was going to say before I went off on one of the fucking Star Wars nerd.
And I still haven't answered Jim's question about putting your penis in Jesus' mouth.
Don't do it.
I'm very patiently silent waiting to go back to that.
Couldn't you just...
Like I said, I've got a plan and I know where everything's going, so I'm just letting this happen and then I'll be back.
Sure.
So don't worry about it. I've actually got a follow-up to what we're talking about with the Star Wars as well, but I'll let Max finish his point.
I hate that the idea of like a male role model in popular fiction is either the kind of muscle-bound asshole kind of jock type, or it's the Michael Cera. Like there's too much of a disconnect there. And in the 90s, there was that whole message in a lot of pop culture that guys needed to be more sensitive. and it's like that got kind of misconstrued and wound up with a bunch of what do you call it? Jared Leto's, a bunch of Jared Leto's running around, and it's like you'll have guys who are like, yeah, I'm obviously sensitive. These are girls' pants I'm wearing, and eyeliner, hello, but they turn out to be total pricks, and then you have people who are genuinely nice, and they're like, oh, like I wouldn't want to be like, a jerk by actually having some guts, and that's what's missing, guts.
I'm with you.
Guts.
And Obi-Wan Kenobi had guts. Bruce Lee had guts.
Yeah.
Agent Cooper from Twin Peaks had guts. These are good male role models.
Cary Grant had guts.
I've got a question though.
Who? Cary Grant? Oh yeah, Cary
Grant
good.
In North by Northwest. I don't know if I ever told this story, but my buddy called me up once when I was in college, and he called me up and he was like, "Hey, dude, I've been reading this game. It's called this book. It's called The Game by Neil Strauss. It's about how to basically undermine the self-esteem of women so that they'll sleep with you." And I'm like, "That's a fucking dumb thing to read. That's like a walkthrough. That doesn't make you a good gamer. It means you're cheating, basically. That's not
good
Yeah. And I was like, if you want to be like more charming with girls, how about this? How about be Indiana Jones, be Cary Grant in North by Northwest, be Bruce Campbell in pretty much anything. Like, be a charming, but occasionally an asshole. Be yourself, be charming, don't be a pushover. It's like that.
Sure.
My friend was like, so I should be more like Indiana Jones. And I'm like, be fucking as much like Indiana Jones as a human being as you fucking can be. And if you find me a fucking woman who does not want to have sex with Indiana Jones, I don't know, she probably has issues, man. She's got some problems. Because Indiana Jones is the best. And I feel like a lot of girls would probably agree with me on that.
Oh yeah, women love Indiana Jones.
Yeah,
that's true.
But anyway, if my friend called me up the day after making this phone call, called me up at like 9 a.m. the next day, and he was like, "Dude, I got laid last night." And I was like, "Exactly, you had sex with a girl," and he'd never had sex with a girl before, so that's a thing that happened.
Okay, because he acted like Indiana Jones?
Exactly, but because I said, dismiss this horrible walkthrough, this Prima strategy guide for dating women that you've picked up.
Well, I'm glad
I've
that
never
worked
got
for
that
him.
whole need to undermine women like that. The whole, you've got to knock them down and fucking... follow up any compliment with a criticism to just fuck with their heads until they just kind of stagger crying and naked into your room, and then you will have sex and be a real man. I don't kind of understand that, but what I really want to know is Ewoks, is that pedophilia or not, Jonathan Holmes?
That's a tough one, because of course there's
absolutely difficult. I imagine just pinning them down would be a challenge.
It's not pedophilia, but it's not pedophilia, It's
bestiality.
It's murky waters,
well, it's
isn't
more, it? It's xenophilia, I think, is the word for wanting to have sex with things that are alien or other.
Things that are only... So xenophilia, right?
I think that's right.
Can we apply that to baby Jesus? It all goes full circle. I told you. I know exactly what I'm doing. This is predetermined. I am the midichlorians of bad taste humor. I know what I'm doing. That was a good Star Wars reference.
That was very good.
Children.
You brought it right back.
Too. So there, right? Because the thing about baby Jesus is, right?
Yeah.
If you follow one line of thinking, he is God. Right. He is God, but as an ickle baby, right?
Yeah.
Which makes him older than everything. Hence, not pedophilia.
You're feeling the weird. A quick segue. The weird thing that's happened with this whole pedophilia, is it pedophilia or not? It's really a movement. It's kind of a social movement.
Yeah. It's a hot new trend that sweeps the nation.
It's a thing that's happening. It's like, the Occupy New York, Occupy Wall Street thing's kind of dying down. Now everyone's just talking about pedophilia. That's the new thing that's hot on the street. I'm not kidding. It's getting worse.
God.
And people are not doing it as a joke. They're really like, Holmes, there's this girl. She's really hot. She's 15. I'm not going to kiss her. I just want to be friends with her.
Baby.
I just want to be friends with her.
There's this girl. I see her all the time. I see her. I walk by. She works at this pet store in the window, because she's a puppy. Is it pedophilia or not?
And they're also asking me, am I going to go to jail?
Oh, they got to know. They got to know if they're going to go to jail.
Christ.
Let me just announce right now to people, because this is, I know, am I really doing this seriously? Yes, I am. I'm really telling people of the internet who are asking me serious mental health and legal questions now. On a regular basis, because of Jim Sterling.
Well, I should point out that Jonathan Holmes wrote the hit TV show Diagnosis Murder, which qualifies him to talk about crime and all medicine.
Yeah, there, and I feel compelled to answer. And a responsible person would probably say, I am not talking to you about that. But instead, I actually put myself out there and tell people, yes, there's a difference between pedophilia, hebophilia, I think it's pronounced, ephebophilia, which is being attracted to people who are probably under 18 but are physically developed to the point where they're more or less adults. Their bodies are adult, but they're just not old yet. And statutory rape, which is a crime. So even if it's not
very popular amongst our listeners as well, I should point out. Amongst our demographic, I shouldn't say our listeners, but amongst our demographic, that is a popular choice.
Right.
If you're looking for something to do over the Easter holidays this year.
I forgot about Easter.
Here, I got watch less anime or watch more anime.
Right.
That's the solution.
And I would just point out Max isn't technically a qualified psychologist like Jonathan Holmes, so while his advice certainly sounds like it has merit, Podtoid cannot officially vouch for it. You are on your own if you get in trouble following that advice. Again, it sounds good to me, but I can't officially endorse it like I can Jonathan Holmes' advice.
Not a psychologist. Right, so just want to, real quick, I'm belaboring the point. Even though it's not pedophilia to have sex with a 14-year-old who has physically developed to the point where she looks 18...
Is it not pedophilia? Is it not?
It's ephebophilia.
Oh, thanks, mate.
It's still illegal, though, and you'll go to jail for it. It's still statutory rape, even though... So people think, as long as it's not pedophilia, I won't go to jail for it. I'll have sex with that 14-year-old.
Do we have any...
No! There are laws written by man that are different from a classification of what your sexual preferences are. There's this whole separate thing called the legal system.
I know, I should point out, just in all seriousness, and I'm not even joking now, in all seriousness, if your question begins or ends with, will I go to jail? The answer straight away is don't do it.
Yes.
That's really good advice.
And I will actually step out of any humour because I am really worried now that we are actually making people think that it's okay to do certain things. It's not.
Yep.
Don't do that.
If you're curious.
Yeah.
Basically,
if you think it's illegal, don't actually do it. Podtoid is a comical thing. We're humorists. Hey, we all have a laugh, right?
That's right.
So don't do it unless
You're not,
she's sleeping. Then who's to know?
Wow.
God damn. Okay, so can we do some Can we do some questions? Because I should probably get out of this conference room before I get arrested by fucking policemen for being on this podcast with you criminals.
I do want to answer the Jesus question.
Stop it.
He doesn't have to.
Holmes,
no, I feel like it's the duty to the listeners that they know. From what I've gathered in my research, which is
I have to go now.
Oh, come on!
Zach just came in and made a waving motion, and I have to go.
Maybe he was just saying hello, or maybe he just discovered.
No, it was a different kind of wave. Anyway,
a hand. Hello, look, Max, I've got a hand.
Okay, that's enough. I have to go.
Zach Miner?
All right, I will talk to you guys later.
Okay. I tell you what,
good show, Max.
Is it pedophilia if I had sex with Zach because I would be technically fucking a minor? Do you get it? Do you get it or not? His name is Zach Minor, listeners. The guy's name. That's Max's kind of boss.
Is he the director or the producer now of the Detroit show?
I don't producer. I don't. He's still our
This is one of the
producer.
boss jobs.
He sort of directs it. Anyway, you guys should watch the Destructoid show. It's youtube.com/dtoid, and you should check out my other podcast sometime, The Comedy Button, and you should probably take lipstick and put it on your lips, and then kiss a piece of paper, and then mail it to Jonathan Holmes.
That's nice advice.
That
I
is
will
very
endorse that. I will endorse that. That's good.
All right.
So
I'll see you guys later.
Okay, bye.
Hi, Max.
Bye.
So I've got some research real quick.
God, he hates it when we talk about paedophilia. He's
Well-
a real paedophile killjoy. God, I lie awake at night thinking about the chance I'm going to get to talk to you about pedophilia. This is now what I live for. I should probably be dead of cholesterol, but willpower is keeping me alive just one more week so I can keep talking about pedophilia or not.
I did some research real quick because I feel it's my duty to you and the listeners.
No, it is.
Apparently,
Don't just feel it. Let me tell you now, it is your duty.
Apparently, last year, the Pope declared that it is a natural thing for a priest to be sexually attracted to God. Then local priest Jimmy Isaacs said he is absolutely sexually attracted to God. Let's see, what does it say? It affects more priests than you may think. It will continue to happen because it's a totally natural phenomenon to want to have sex with God. That's why I became a priest, because it would make me closer to God, and of course it's the only way to be a single 40-year-old man and not seem totally creepy. Yep, he doesn't seem totally creepy at all. Wants to have sex with God. And they did, a lot of the painters back then, the olden day.
Yeah. So let me just ask this, like taking on that what you just said.
Uh-huh.
Would it have been pedophilia if all those priests had written God on the foreheads of all those choir boys they fucked?
I thought you would say something along those lines. They used to paint baby Jesus with like a little muscular man's body and just a baby's head. If you look at those old paintings, and it is creepy. Like,
has he got a little muscular man's penis, like standing proud and ready to receive the bishop?
That I don't know. He's usually got the what do you call it, the crotch scarf or whatever. There's always like just some weird long piece of cloth around people's crotches in those old paintings. I think they call it a crotch scarf. Anyway, but then again, they're painting him like a muscular man, and therefore it's not quite pedophilia, but it is. Jesus is sexualized a lot in a way that's a little creepy.
Well, Madonna famously did anal with him in that video.
That was Black Jesus too, right?
That was Black Jesus, the best type, if you ask me.
Yeah, a lot of people like that.
Because I'll tell you what I hate.
What's that?
Racism.
Oh, I didn't know that about you.
I think racism is, pardon my language, I think it's fucking shit. And it annoys me. So I love it. I love it. I think Madonna should line up about 5 black guys, just have them all come in her face, all dressed as Jesus, to make a statement about, hey, it's okay to have 5 black Jesuses coming on your face.
Life is a mystery.
Life is a mystery. Yeah. Very much like this podcast.
Alone. Yeah,
like this podcast. I'm ill today. I told Max. I didn't tell you.
Oh, I didn't know. What's wrong?
But I figured as a doctor you could help me. I've just got a cold.
Oh, it's going
I got the sniffly sneezums. And had an allergic reaction on Saturday. But I already told the listeners about that. My tongue went fat. And I was wheezing. It was very scary. And I've got like one red eye. Excuse me.
Whoa.
I got like just bloodshot. I think I burst like a load of blood vessels in my eye when I was doing sicking. So that's weird. So I've got like one half eye like that woman in 28 Weeks Later, Jonathan Holmes.
Oh, I was just thinking about that movie. It wasn't that bad.
Probably definitely an infected now, Jonathan Holmes.
Well, take plenty of vitamin C and rest a lot. That's probably the best thing. And do you need anti-inflammatories? Are you taking like
I think this Podtoid is quite inflammatory enough. I don't think that's going to help.
I enjoy the quick wit of you.
I do. I'm really even sick. I am firing on 85% of my cylinders.
You're still doing great. I would have never guessed. You seemed at 100%.
Well, it's you, Jonathan. You revitalize me.
Oh, I do? Oh, that's nice. It's nice to feel useful because we do live, working for Destructoid, and I mean this is no slight, but I am envious sometimes of how much it feels like it's Jim Sterling's world and the rest of us are all just kind of living in
I
it.
know you were getting really bitter on Twitter the other night.
Well, I didn't
Really
want to.
bitter. You
I
came
didn't want to
across as
seem.
a bitter, petty little man.
I'm sorry, Jim. I didn't
You
mean to
came
sound
across
spiteful.
Jonathan Holmes as a spiteful, venomous little coward, if you don't mind my saying.
I apologize, Jim. It was a moment of weakness.
You're perfectly all right to do that because it feels like that way for me sometimes, and I honestly feel awkward about it. Like when someone works really hard on a review that they have done, and within the first 5 comments, they start calling them Jim Sterling and telling them off for being Jim Sterling.
Yeah,
It
it
makes
happens all the
it is
time.
awkward. It is awkward, and I don't, Okay, I'm not going to lie. 50% of me thinks it's bloody great because I am an egotist,
True.
shameless egotist. Because who else would host a podcast where they think people want to listen to them talk for 2 hours?
And they do, and the numbers have doubled. So there you go.
Hey, look, I'm doing it right.
You are
Max
absolutely.
Max may doubt me. He may doubt, but I'm not. People do this all the time. They don't think I've got a plan, just like God, right? I'm not saying I am God. I'm saying if I was, I would be.
What did Jesus tell people? If I was, I would be. Did Jesus tell people he was God? I can't remember. Or
No,
did they tell?
Jesus
He
did
just
not
walked around, right?
explicitly say that he was God. He just kind of left it up to interpretation. And that's just one of the many similarities I have with him. And
That's
again,
right.
I'm not saying I'm God or Jesus. There are just... If you put us in a spreadsheet, a Microsoft Excel spreadsheet, and listed the similarities, there'd be more them than differences.
Right. And there'd be a long spreadsheet.
Yeah,
And
I too am son of man.
that's true. That's true. So I'm sorry I seem bitter, Jim.
No, I'm joking, of course. You're perfectly valid to... What was... Because I only got little bits of it. I tried to follow your Twitter. I wasn't as...
Well, a lot of
that
people
night.
were just, and they're doing it today. They're tweeting now, like, can you just ask Jim Sterling, Jim Sterling? And then I go to check my emails, like, I was hoping Jim Sterling could write this article about Jim Sterling, please. The Jim Sterling, the Destructoid tips, and it to me, it's not like, oh, I'm mad that Jim is so popular, but it is in itself a funny phenomenon that I wanted to point out to people. So in responding to people saying, go about Jim Sterling, I was just like, Jim Sterling? Or Jim Sterling? Just, you know that scene in Being John Malkovich?
Yeah,
When
I
it's
love
just
that
like,
film.
Malkovich. Yeah, I wanted to do that on Twitter and just have the only thing I say is
Yeah.
Jim Sterling to people.
Well,
And they enjoyed it. And people were thinking it was funny and
no, it
giggling.
was funny, but at the same time, I, it worries me. Because
Aw.
I worry that everyone on stuff's like that fucking Jim Sterling. So
Oh, no.
full of himself and pies. Because that. I hate him, and I can't wait for him to die off cholesterol in a minute.
Well, I can only speak for myself when I say that you are always gracious to everyone on staff. You never act like a diva or a prima donna, or that you are more important, even though you technically are, in my opinion, more important. If you left Destructoid, it would be a huge hole, whereas if I left Destructoid, or if, even if Dale left Destructoid, it would also leave a hole, but not as big. And I don't
No,
mean
you'd
that.
just be a huge hole if you left.
That's right.
Because you're not allowed to go.
No, I don't.
As long as I'm here, if you left, right, I would have nothing to do for a hobby because you are my hobby. Now, not in a bad way, not in an upsetting or alarming way, in a fun
I
way.
don't seem worthy of that. You being this, celebrity of video game writing, and I'm just kind of, I think of you as kind of prime time, and I'm like the weird stuff that comes on at 1 a.m. Some people like what I do
That's
too, but
it. The best stuff comes on at 1 a.m. The
I don't know.
primetime stuff is shit. You insult me almost.
No, I like primetime a lot. That's when, The Daily Show, that's a good show, I guess. Colbert Report. Always Sunny in Philadelphia.
I love Always Sunny in Philadelphia. I'll take back
Sometimes
everything I've said.
Yeah.
Take back
Whereas
everything
I'm
I've said.
more like, like China, Illinois. I'm kind of like that.
A lot of people have dreams about me.
This is true.
I get a lot of people in email and on Facebook and on Twitter saying, just had a dream about Jim Sterling. I think about 3 times this week, and it's only Tuesday. I had one of the guys in charge of Uber Entertainment who do Monday Night Combat. He said he just came back from a vacation and his first dream was about me. I had one guy who said they had a dream that I broke their laptop and refused to pay for it. One guy, like a holiday in Belgium, I think he had with me in his dream. Another one was like Left 4 Dead, and I was on their team or whatever. People like to do dreams about me.
They can't help it. You are a part of kind of the collective. I feel like you symbolize something to people. Like people figure out who their types are. So people.
Well, I mostly symbolize Hoggish Greedley from Captain Planet.
I don't think you look anything like him. You're much cuter than that. You're a cute little guy there walking around. That's you.
Big in the city, then.
No, but there's a certain voice that we all have, and we look for a representative of that voice, and you represent it better than anyone else in video game journalism. The half knowing that it's a little bit ridiculous to be this overly passionate about video games, but at the same time truly energized about the topic, and then able to make the observations that people feel but don't always want to say. I'm sure you get that all the time. I see people saying it about you all the time, that like, you said what I felt but didn't have the words for it about SOPA or EA or Nintendo or whatever. So yeah, you're nailing it. I'm proud to be a part of your deal, man. I'm just happy to be here. It's great.
That's
true.
All right, isn't it?
Yeah, those compliments.
That's done okay.
Yeah, it's all true.
See, this is what you make me feel better about my day when I am sick and
Yeah,
ill,
being sick is terrible.
and that you are uplifting like a church hymn.
I thought you were going to say a church cock. I was going to make up a new thing about church cocks, but you didn't, which is
I was classy.
Yeah, you played it classy. Thank you. Appreciate it. Is it time for questions? Did you do a questions post, Jim, or should I ask people questions?
No, I actually did a questions post this week.
Oh, awesome. I
know what I'm doing.
Yeah, you are. You're on top of
it. I told you. I'm firing on 85% of my sentences.
You're doing great, man.
Grethawar says, is Jim bisexual? Thanks. No.
Excuse me? Is Jim what sexual?
Bisexual.
Oh, a lot of people are talking about you being bisexual recently.
Yeah. It's not that. It's just I literally don't give a fuck. I really don't. I don't. The word bisexual, it makes me cringe. I don't know why. It's irrational. It's not because of my feelings about bisexuality. I just don't like the word. Like ketchup and luscious. I don't like those words either.
What do you think of moist and Gerber?
Moist, I don't mind. Gerber, I like because I like Gerber babies. Not in a sexual way. I like the idea of the Gerber baby being its own individual species of animal. And there's like lots of Gerber babies all with the same Gerber baby face. That's
a great idea.
Yeah, and it's not pedophilia. I can answer that one. It's definitely not, no matter what I do in the privacy of my own bedroom. But that's it. I don't like the word pansexual either, because that is just it makes me think of Apple. It just makes me think of trendy stuff.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Yeah, so I just couldn't. Apathosexual. Literally don't give a shit.
Yeah. Apathosexual. That's very good. You're not asexual, though.
Oh, definitely not.
No, opposite of that, I guess.
Definitely not. Yeah.
You are just sexual, Jim.
I'm a sexual walrus. It's pretty good.
And people love it.
Yeah.
It's very good.
That's it.
Yeah.
Just don't give a fuck. There's no point drawing a line anymore. Just grab what you can get and
It's just limiting yourself, right?
Yeah, like an angler fish, just latch onto something and fuck until you're nothing but a withered strap of flesh. That's the way I live my life, and I think you all should live your life. Just grab a brick and fuck it until your dick is dog food.
Grab
That is
a
what
dick.
I thought I said brick.
You did say
Grab a
I'm
brick
sorry.
until your dick is okay.
Yeah, I got it.
That's my new mantra, and that's the message I'm going to carry when I run for president in 4 years' time. Just fuck bricks until just nothing, until it's smooth down there like an action man.
Oh wow, you will get some supporters. I've found that no matter what you do, someone's gonna find value in it. Like the theme of my week has been like, is there any value to anything? Any sort of universal or objective value? Probably not. But no matter what you do, it seems like someone will love it a lot, and someone will want to vote for you. Maybe thousands of people
Oh
if
yeah.
you run on the platform of just fuck a brick until your penis is just rubbed off in a bloody stump. You
Well,
know?
I'm sure, as is the rule of the internet, someone's going to enjoy that. Someone will actually enjoy doing that with bricks.
Oh yeah, there's people out there. They just want to hop on balloons until they pop, or they just want to put their penis in a wall, just like rub it against a
Yeah.
wall. Yeah.
Chomsky Honk asks a question that has been asked a lot. There is even a very creepy Podtoid thread on it on the Destructoid forums. He basically wants to know. Well, he asks. Actually, I misread that question. He wanted to ask if we could have a video game character replacing Tara Long. But I do want to just say for the record, there are currently no plans to replace Tara Long. And would you jump in her grave so fucking quickly, listeners?
Yeah.
So
That's
many
weird.
people with their ideas, mostly for themselves, mostly voting for themselves.
Oh yeah, people want to be a
yeah.
co-host of Podtoid. I
No
noticed.
offense, but I don't fucking know you. Thanks for listening. I do love you, but I don't know you. I've got no plans to replace her at the moment. Maybe in the future, but I'm in no rush. I'm in no rush to just suddenly replace her. It's you can't just say, "Oh, here's your new mum." Get used to it, kid. That would be creepy. People would think it was engineered. People would think we conspired to kill Tara Long, which we haven't done. Definitely not.
And I do think it's a little weird that people are like, you definitely need to get another woman on the show because woman, woman, woman. I'm like, well, maybe, like, Tara had a woman's voice. Like, she sounded as though she did not have balls and a cock. Is that how we talk?
Yeah, I don't get that. I mean, it's not like with Vox Media. It's not like we're just going to hire the first female we can find just to satisfy demand.
The fact that she was female was not why she was on the show, nor did it really have anything to do with anything she ever did on the show. She just happened
she was
to...
confirmed for the new Podtoid before I was.
Yeah.
It was her and Max.
Show.
It was going to be their show. They were going to host that.
Right.
And then I think I explained last week I stepped in because I've actually, I've had experience with podcasts, so I could get it set up and get it started. And I kind of stepped in there, but yeah, I mean, it wasn't like we brought her on. It's like, we need a woman, get her on. And I kind of get, I get the whole sausage fest kind of thing, but it's not like we're typical blokes,
No.
I wouldn't say we are the typical sausage festy guys that just talk about girls all the time. But we do talk about girls, but not women.
No. Max thinks I am a girl and that I have the mind of a woman because I play Animal Crossing and, like My Neighbor Totoro more than I like Blade Runner and that sort of thing. So yeah, I'm your female cast member for the show, in my opinion. Deal with it. Is that cool with you, Jim? I'll just be the girl?
That's absolutely cool. You can do that. Hold on a second. What's that?
Thanks.
What is that?
Scrambled cheese and peanut butter.
Yeah, might as well.
Okay.
Have fun with it.
Okay.
Sorry, had to...
That's okay. Is he eating peanut butter?
It's some snack thing.
Sounds good.
I think carries on from his school or something. Had to deal with him because he's gone to a new school, so he actually comes in. Like, he's usually here before I even record, but he actually just came in now, so
Got
had
it.
to acknowledge he was here to make
Parenting.
sure he's here. Yeah,
Sure.
I might have to, sort out different recording times or days, actually, now that that's changed.
Okay.
But we'll talk about that later. Anyway,
Sure.
the point is, we're in no rush to replace anyone.
And it might not be with a woman if we do.
Yeah,
It might
I mean, the
just
thing is, if I'm going to
person.
replace people, I'm not going to do it just because I feel I have to. That's not what I want. I want a show where it's like, I want someone on, or, we want someone on, because the point of this show is sort of the banter and the camaraderie that you get. So it would have to be someone we're comfortable with. Like, people are like, well, just get people from out of Destructoid, just people from the industry, get some celebrities on, get Stuttering and Craig on. It's like, dude, I mean, it would make the podcast weird if we just suddenly brought on a stranger that none of us know.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I'm in no rush.
I just realized how sad I would be if I, for whatever reason, had to leave Podtoid and you just found another, like, sleepy, balding guy who's like, hey, guys, I'm Ronathan Romes. And you're like, oh, we got another one for you. I'd feel so, disposable. And I feel like Tara might feel the same way if we just, like, got a girl now. New girl. That would be yucky for her, I think.
Brilliant.
So, yeah, we're going to do it naturally.
Yeah.
Do what we want.
And also,
That's the
just to all the people who posted in the Destructoid forum thread about replacing her, you're all weird. It became just a sexual thing.
Really?
It was mostly people, saying the kind of things that would get a man arrested if he actually said it to Tara Long over the phone.
Oh, yeah. I don't understand the sense of empowerment people feel by just publicly being unlikable and gross.
Bear in mind, this is our listeners we're slagging off.
Sure. And that's not the people who did that are not defined by that one thing that they did. I'm not saying they're gross people or unlikable people, but that action, just like when I poop in the toilet, that's not my shining moment. That's not what I want broadcast on the internet. I try to keep those toilet poop videos offline before they leak. And likewise, when I'm just like objectifying a woman in my own mind, that's not what I want the world to know me as. I don't know where people are getting the idea that that's like what is good to do and to show people as your public face. It's not that good to just talk about boobs. It's not interesting conversation. It's not usually that. Sometimes it's a little funny, but usually not. You know what I mean? Or am I wrong? I don't know.
I don't know.
I don't think I know the
I do
answers.
love everyone who listens, though.
Me too. Absolutely.
Even if you do want to have sex with 15-year-old girls and want to stalk Tara Long.
Yeah,
I don't approve of that. I don't think you should do either of those things.
No.
But whatever you do, keep listening to the show. And
Right.
you can't listen to Podtoid in jail. In fact, I would imagine that's the last thing they'd let in there. So just think of that, if nothing else. God.
Yeah, don't go to jail. Avoid jail. Don't publicly say sexually demeaning things about our friends. And just keep listening to the show.
Yeah.
Is that our advice? Yeah, okay. Oh,
Renend has a question.
Oh, yeah?
Imagine your favourite thing ever. Describe it. But someone spit on it. Do you still want it? And if not, can I have it? So what's
Imagine your favorite thing ever.
So what's your favourite thing? And describe it.
Maybe a pizza?
So you love a good old
Yeah, I
Love a
love
good old-
just a pizza.
What
Yeah.
kind of pizza?
Sometimes I like chicken on there. Yeah, grilled
that's
chicken
good.
on the pizza. It's pretty good.
Cheese.
Cheese, yep.
A layer of marinara sauce, maybe. Yeah. Stuffed crust.
Sure, I haven't had that before, but
Yeah.
it seems good in theory. I've seen pictures. of
Okay,
it.
so we've got
Seen it
stuffed
around.
crust, grilled chicken, cheese, marinara.
And someone spit on it.
Someone has just spat on it. Oh.
Spit is like hair. People think it's gross, but it's really not that big of a deal. Like, if your hair gets in your food, you don't go, ugh! But if someone else's hair gets in your food, you'll be like, oh, no, this is unclean, and take it. It's just a piece of hair, man. It's fine. Just eat it. It'll be good for you. And spit, Spit's totally fine as long as they don't have Ep-C or anything. As long as they don't have a disease, whatever.
So,
It's all basically the same. Your spit's just like my spit genetically,
okay.
pretty much.
So again, Jonathan Holmes, qualified doctor, advises you to just roll pizza around in hair and spit and just eat it.
No. I'm saying it's not as terrible as people make it out. It's to be avoided, but it's not a terminal thing. To have to deal with.
I'm that way. Saliva, like the look of it, and sometimes the smell of it, only in certain instances, will make me heave. Like, ugh.
Really?
Yeah.
Huh.
Sometimes just the thought. In fact, I can feel my gorge rising just thinking about it, and I don't know why. Because
Saliva?
I've got no problem. I've got no problem with it. Like, doing all like deep kissing. Nom, nom,
Sure.
or like women getting it a bit on their out of their mouths when they're doing sex on a knob with their mouths, right? No problem with it. But then just sometimes, just every now and then, a trigger will be like, "That's disgusting. You've got to try and be sick now, because that won't be gross if you do that."
Well, I think the underlying thing about both hair and saliva is like someone who couldn't contain themselves physically or keep their stuff to themselves were touching your food and got some of themselves in your stuff.
It's a
And
bit
that's
of
just a
someone
bad
else
idea.
in your personal space, which
Yeah.
it's an instinct thing. It's an
That's right.
evolutionary drive. We're being very scientific this week.
Oh, absolutely. And anyone who can't keep their hair or spit to themselves is probably not fit to be making your food. It's kind of a sign of competence as well. Like, ugh, this drooling hair dropper. He probably doesn't know how to make a sandwich. Put this back. And that's my thought on that.
Sorry, I just yawned in the middle of a
That's all right.
recording.
We all do it. I'm totally exhausted today.
Yeah, I feel
Ugh,
shattered. I've
tired.
not been sleeping well.
Oh, no, really?
Yeah, it's ever since
Because you're sick?
Well, I had the sick. I've got like a skin complaint, which sort of eyes me up. Plus I've not slept properly since the allergic thing kept me up, so I'm running on fumes. Very tired.
I would have never guessed. This is the only time you've sounded tired just now with the yawn. They do make people sound tired.
That they do, and I've got to play Amy again later. So
Oh, how is that?
fucking terrible.
Oh no, such a good concept.
I was telling Max about it before you came on. It's like the worst of old school survival horror, but with nothing that made those games fun.
Oh, that's too bad.
It is terrible.
Is it like Clock Tower era survival horror?
It's
just like
got
walking
elements-
around powerless?
It's got elements like absolutely, utterly stolen from Clock Tower,
Okay.
Silent Hill, and Resident Evil, and it just thieves from those games, but doesn't like take any of the stuff that made those games good, that made up for their old problems. It's just all the old problems of survival horror, but more cynical and forced. The only time they get to scare you is like, oh, look, a pipe burst and some smoke came out at you. All those fucking cat scares.
Oh man, really?
Yeah,
That's
and they're
too-
not even good ones. They're like really badly telegraphed. You can see them come in, and when they come out, they're like, the animation will happen before the noise, so you can already see it coming, and just awful so far. And I'm only like an hour in, and I'm already upset. Like, it was... Because the controls are so bad, like dodgy. They still, even though it's like analog control, like a modern game, it's got that forklift bumper car kind of dodgem feel to it, and the characters like stick on walls and can't move, and it's just physically unpleasant. I don't think I've felt this physically unnerved and unhappy playing a game than since the PlayStation Move Time Crisis with they tried to do a FPS with the Move and
I never played that.
Fucking dreadful.
Oh, that's bad too.
Really awful. And the just physically uncomfortable and miserable controls, and that's what I'm getting from Amy already. Like, what's the date today? January the 10th.
10th.
Yeah, 10 days in, and this is an easy contender for one of my worst games of the year.
Well, you haven't played Zombie Attack yet, have you? You didn't boot that up as soon as you could.
No.
Zombie Attack, 2 eyes. Zombie.
Oh, God, that's the one I quickly threw at you, isn't it?
That's the one. I finally, I felt badly. They gave me a code for it on, I think, Friday, but I didn't have a chance all weekend, so I downloaded it yesterday. And yeah, I mean, you know what to expect going into it, so it's not like it was an unpleasant surprise, but it just makes me feel weird about the world I live in. Like, is this what we've come to? Is this what we do with our time and our money and our energy? We make Zombie Attack? Why did they... It's such a soulless, sad, like... It's just like watching someone on their worst day crying and, like, wondering what's wrong with them and why can't they lead a good life. And they just sold that feeling.
Yeah, well, that's the result of people just in the business to make money, isn't it? It's just
I guess so, but
money,
does anyone make money off of just, well, to be fair, it has 18 levels. I'm on the 3rd level. The first 3 levels are all the same. It's a slingshot game. So you've got a slingshot with rocks in it, and zombies just show up. They just show up like in it. Picture a duck hunt, but the only part of the screen that ducks might appear are like a 2-inch by 5-inch part of the screen. They're like in 1/20th of the screen, and they just walk up, and then you hit them with rocks. And in kind of a nice twist, you can pick them up and fling them into a helicopter sometimes, so a scientist can do something with them. And when you win, just suddenly, you won't know why, it'll suddenly just stop and be like, you won! A really funny, I can't tell if it's intentionally or not, but a drawing of a scientist giving you a really enthusiastic thumbs up as if you just did something so fun, and shouldn't you be happy when you literally had the most boring time of your life before that. It almost seems knowing. It almost seems like a punk rock song that's just all farts. Have you heard that one?
No.
And then if they just gave you a huge thumbs up after that, knowing like, you feel terrible, isn't it funny? We know you're sad, we're not. Haha. Like that would be funny if they did it on purpose, but I can't tell.
That's always a problem, because some of those games do try and be deconstructions of what genre they are, and they try and use irony to justify like genuinely bad game design. And it doesn't work if it is genuinely bad game design. The last Simpsons game from EA, which I think was just called The Simpsons Game, tried all that. It tried that. It was like, oh, here's a block puzzle, or haha, look at these generic enemies, or haha, look at this backtracking, or whatever. And it's like, just saying it while you're still doing it isn't a joke. That's just you mocking the audience. Really.
Right, for buying your game. Yeah. That is bad. Yeah.
It's really not a joke if you're just literally doing it and just saying that you know you're doing it.
You know, that I was thinking about doing a top 10 list of the best troll posts in games where they are just trying to hurt the audience. I think Metal Gear Solid 2 has moments in that. But yeah, it's an interesting phenomenon when people do that. And it wouldn't be a top 10 list paying tribute to doing that, because I don't think it's usually bad when people make fun of their audience. But it'd be interesting to kind of document.
We say that, but we do Podtoid.
I don't know. We don't really make fun of our audience. We're not going to lie to them.
No. We don't. We genuinely criticize them. That's far better. We genuinely tell them they're wrong and bad people.
Well, no, they're not bad people. They've done bad things.
A mass of sex pests and pedophiles.
They've done some bad things, as we all have. I'm not judging them. I'm just pointing out some target behaviors for them to take a look at. Like, having sex with 14-year-olds.
It's not.
Maybe should do it.
It's not wise.
No.
You can get in a lot of trouble.
I'm just looking out for them, really.
So yeah. People are
Zombie
confused.
Attack.
They listen to this for advice. Don't fuck kids. Don't play Amy or Zombie Attack. 3 messages.
Yeah, zombie attack. I don't know. Maybe it'll get good. Anyway,
Maybe.
we should do another question.
Oh yeah, Gabriel Silverwolf says, "Dear Jim, Max, and Jonathan, since Soul Calibur 5 will allow us to create overweight characters, it's a bit offensive, and since you can make custom characters based on the entire cast of Podtoid, offensive.
Oh, because I'm fat.
It's it's fucking rude, actually. If you don't mind me saying that, Gabriel Silverwolf, I think it's grossly insulting."
Well, I'm a little fat. That's what WeFit tells me. We all have. I'm trying to think of Max.
I'm Attack of the Killer Tomatoes.
You are,
and I know that's what he's getting at.
This
And
is
I
gonna
just
sound weird, Jim, but I always think you're losing weight. Are you losing weight?
no, that's just what people say to fat people.
Oh, because I always think that you are.
No,
It's just a thing I
I'm
think.
getting fatter.
Really?
I live in Mississippi. Of course, I'm getting fatter.
It's really kind of just a greasy, hot, sad world there.
It's
Why don't
terrible.
you move up here? Why don't you move in with me? Why don't you just move your whole family in with me? That'd be great.
That would be great. Not something I can do till the kids are older, unfortunately.
Oh, true. Yeah.
Then I'm getting right the fuck out. But anyway, Gabriel Silverwolf, in all seriousness,
Yes.
asks that since we could be feasibly Soul Calibur 5 characters, he wants to know our fighting styles and our weapons.
Wow. Soul Calibur. I haven't played that in a long time. You always have to have a edged weapon in those games, except for the Tonfa's guy. So I guess I would have a big vacuum cleaner, and I would wear. I'd want to up what Valdo did. I'd want to like dress as like a baby and be like, "Oh, coochie, coochie, don't you love me?" And like have, a duster and a vacuum cleaner, all these things that you just don't want to see a man do, because that's what people don't like about Valdo. It's like, well, a man is supposed to not flash his crotch and his ass at you, and he's not supposed to slink around like a snake. I'd want to do all those things times 10 and do everything a man is not supposed to do and discomfort my enemies into submission.
Yeah. I'm very much the same way. It's an effective fighting style. It's like, it's hard for another man to fight you when you're just rubbing your greasy length over him. Like, you're just like, oh, can you feel how warm my penis is on your thigh? And then, like, you clamp your legs round him, like, round his leg, and then you just urinate. And it's going through your clothes onto his bare thigh, because he's dressed for combat and I'm wearing, like, child's pajamas, only, man fat size. And I'm just, like, pissing on him, and he's like, like that, and he doesn't even want to touch me now, especially because I've done, like, one of those little sicky burps where you burp and a little bit of vom comes out, and that's
I've been
just
doing that all week.
Yeah, and that's just crusting on my chin, right? So I've urined, and then I'm like, I need to go poo, like that. And he doesn't know what to do. He doesn't.
This isn't a fight. You're fighting like
this is a
Mr.
fight.
Ruby or something at this point.
And I'm like crying. I'm openly weeping. It's openly weeping, stinking of piss, drying vomit on my chin, and farting. Like, I haven't done a shit yet, but it's clear I need one, and the farts are doing that thing where they go through the shit, so they smell worse.
Oh, those sick farts. Those are real,
basically, poo ghosts, I like to call them. They're like the fart of Puma's future. So he's like that, like his nostrils are full of the earthy scent of urine, vomit, and shitty farts.
Wow.
And I'm crying, like I'm on my knees, hands like head in my hands like that. The crack of my ass like billowing out of the pajama bottoms, and he'll just walk away. He will walk away, and then it will be, Jim Sterling wins.
His health bar, would his health bar even go down, or would his health bar just disappear? Like, it's not even on the screen anymore. He just completely...
He do whatever happens when they get, like, knocked out of the environment. Like, he'll just jump out of... into the river or something.
If we ever make that Podtoid point-and-click game that one of our fine listeners is interested in trying to make. I want that to happen. That would be a great scene in the point and click game. You'd have to like collect all the different things first, like the pill that'll make you fart and the, drink all the water so you can urinate and stuff like that and get the outfit. Because in point and click games, you have to do mindless collection of stuff first and then do what do they call it? I suddenly blanked on my words. What's the word for it, Jim? When you solve a puzzle in a point and click game?
Uh,
The something of elimination, process of elimination.
yeah.
That's it. Yeah, and eventually you would come upon that scene of you just like dry humping, urinating, farting, and half vomiting on Mitsurugi from Soul Calibur, and then he'd walk away. Great idea, Jim.
Thank you. I'm very pleased.
No, anytime. I enjoy it.
More questions. God, these people ask some questions. God, give us more than this.
There's not that many questions?
Well, there's lots, but none I want to fucking answer.
I understand.
I'm so rude. I'm really sorry, listeners. I really am rude to you.
I don't know. Don't people crave honesty? A lot of my friends, especially my newest friend is my accordionist in my fake band. She is, if I tell her, wow, you played really good, she'll be like, don't fucking lie to me. I'm like, I'm not. You sounded really good. She's like, listen, I know good playing. That playing was shit. Let's do it again. And long and short, as I get to know her, I'm finding that I have to tell her the good and the bad, or else she doesn't believe anything I say. And that's what people love about you, Jim. People are saying right now, they're tweeting to me, Jim. Tweeting away. This gentleman, his name is Sean, I think. Let me find him on here. My computer's running really slow. Sean Barger, maybe, said he's really sad that you are not doing the Final Fantasy 13-2 review. Because you are the one who are, he says, few critics nailed the issues with the story like he did with Final Fantasy 13. So if you were to love Final Fantasy 13-2, it would really mean something to all the people, and there are a lot of people who are really disappointed with Final Fantasy 13. If you gave Final Fantasy 13-2 a glowing review, it would really mean something, and if you gave it a bad review, it would really mean something. Whereas someone else reviews it, who cares what they think, right?
Well, that's what I'm trying to... Well, that's not just for me, it's the brand I want for Destructoid on the internet. Our reviews mean shit.
Yeah.
It's sad that people try and discredit them when they don't agree with them. You get all these, don't take it seriously because it's Destructoid. Sorry, the industry does. There's no doubt about it. Like, no matter how many times you post on a forum somewhere, the Destructoid reviews have no credibility. 1 week, late last year, I approved about 4 or 5 quote requests from various large publishers. So, who wanted our words because our words mean something. There's a reason why Destructoid reviews are quoted in the TV commercial for Sonic Generations, TV commercials for Skyrim, that sort of thing.
Sure.
Because our words fucking mean stuff. They don't mean so much when they take stuff from a preview and put that on TV, and then I give Vanquish a 4.
Did you get Vanquish a 4?
4.5, I think.
I forgot.
Something like that.
Vanquish.
Fuck it. I've still got the game somewhere. I'm on the back, quoted on the back. I was actually genuinely upset by that, though, because...
Yeah, you were really looking forward to that game.
And it was my first box quote, and it's not something I can stand by. It's not something I can say, I mean that.
Parts of the game are, and part of you liked that part of the game a lot. So it's not a lie. It's just when you got to play the whole thing, you found out what all of you thought of the entirety of Vanquish, which was not so hot.
And it's a shame. Yeah. It's a shame. But, I got quoted later for Sonic Generations, which I was very proud to endorse, because I do like that one. It's a genuinely good Sonic game, so hooray.
Yeah.
Hurrah.
Yeah, that's great. Sega.
Hurrah, hurrah, hurrah.
That's good little
yeah.
People want us to make more music, Jim. All the time they say, Wow, I hope you and Jim do some more songs sometime. People wanted, what was our band called? Plenty of Mushrooms?
Plenty of mushrooms. Plenty of
People
mushrooms.
held on to that. They want that
I've
to
got
happen.
plenty of mushrooms. Well, I mentioned it on the Jimquisition this week.
Yeah, that's right.
You got a name check and everything. It was nice.
Thank you so much. Yeah, what a popular episode that is, too. You've really... I don't know how you do it. The SOPA thing came along, and I was like, oh, that'll blow over. I didn't give it much thought. But you felt it hard, and you ran with that feeling, and other people are running with it, too. And,
Oh, there's more where that came from as well. There's more where that came from. Not just SOPA either. Through this SOPA thing, I have become very interested in consumer advocacy.
Oh, yeah?
It's something I really want to do more of. It gives me a fucking hard-on.
Whoa, awesome,
Consumer
man.
advocacy gives me a hard-on. I like it. It's good to champion this kind of stuff.
Sure, absolutely. And it makes a difference, too. I think people forget that so many things have come and gone. You know how long ago it was that if you were dirty and poor, that a doctor, and you were a woman, a doctor would give you a hysterectomy and not tell you? It's like 40 years ago. Not that long ago.
Jeez.
Yeah. Terrible things will just happen sometimes. And unless people talk about it and fight for the good causes, the politicians who may be well-meaning but are often very clueless, and if you become a politician, you're much more likely to be the type who is entitled and sure that you're right and everyone else is wrong. Otherwise, why would you think you're the one who should be telling everyone else how to live? So politicians really need to be stood up to and stopped a lot. And who better to do it than Jim Sterling? I don't know. I don't know anyone else would be better to do it. I don't think anyone's better than you for
Literally
that.
nobody. Literally nobody else.
You're the best one for that. So thank you. Just keep doing it for me, so I don't have to. I'm lazy.
Zale Chacha asks, and I'm only answering this because it was just such a weird question to have attached to something so emotional. Okay, so Jim, I love you, and I just got my wisdom teeth removed. So pretty please would love to know if you've ever played Burnout 3 Takedown. And what are your thoughts on it? It's one of his favourite games, you see, and he'd like to know if I think I have. When was that? Was that a PS2 game?
Burnout 3 Takedown? I don't know. That is what I know least about, is kind of not tier in quality, but like third tier in popularity racing games that are just like cars on a road. That's what I know the least about. I know like Wipeout and F-Zero and stuff like that, but no idea about Burnout. Sorry.
I think that is the game I played. That is like the only Burnout game I've seriously played.
Burnout 3 Takedown.
That's the one that I think I had like the crash course thing where you basically just get into car crashes and you win points by scoring as much property damage as possible, which is
fun.
Very fun, very stress relieving. So yeah, if Burnout 3 Takedown's the one I played, which it looks like it is, I did enjoy it. I'm not a big sort of quote-unquote realistic racing game fan. That one like straddles the line between realistic and cartoony, so it was cartoony enough that I could enjoy it. So yeah, good stuff.
I hope his teeth feel better too. That's a pain getting 4 teeth pulled out at once.
I need to get some done. Actually, I've got a wisdom tooth at the back. It's clearly got some hole in it, and if I eat anything stringy, like a steak or something, like the stringy stuff will get right up there and just, I guess, press on a nerve, and it'll fuck me up for at least a day, possibly 2. Ruined my Christmas last year, like the last Christmas, because some ham I think got in it and just ruined my whole teeth.
That's awful. I'm sorry to hear that.
Did
I ever tell you about my weird cannon teeth that came in?
No. Do tell.
You know, here's the thing about the world. They just discovered, I think, a new kind of fish or lizard. Some people, some scientists were at a restaurant in an Asian country, and they were like, "Oh, we'll eat that thing. Wait, what the hell is that thing?" And they're like, "Oh yeah, we just found that guy." And then they found out it was a totally new, I can't remember if it was an amphibian, a fish, or a lizard, but it was a new kind of creature, and that sort of in a tank. genre of animal. Anyway, my point is nature is constantly doing things that we haven't figured out yet. And I think I'm one of them because when I was a teenager, I had a new kind of tooth grow in. Like, picture a tooth, if you will, Jim. Are you picturing
Absolutely.
it?
Oh,
You're picturing
absolutely.
a tooth. You know how a tooth, particularly the molars, have like 4 roots?
Mm-hmm.
Picture just a root growing over your rearmost molar, and it's just growing over it, just growing there.
Ooh.
You're like, wow, new fang, new like weird needle tooth, maybe. And I wiggle it around and be like, ah, that's a weird guy. Just, yep, I got one. And then kept growing, and then I just pulled it all out eventually, and I just have this long shard, like marrow from the X-Men, just like a weird bone shard growing out of my mouth, and I kept it. I'm like, oh yeah. Then another one grew later on.
Ah.
Yeah, I got a couple of those guys. I have no idea what they are. I've tried
I've
looking
got
them
this
up.
idea.
Mm.
I think you should do this.
Yeah.
Plant them in your garden. Look, just plant them in the lawn in the backyard and see if it turns into a big bone tree.
They could be like magic beans. I have no
It
idea.
could
I've still
be.
got them lying around the house
Magic
somewhere.
bones.
Magic bones. The teeth bone, I guess. Those are my teeth bones.
And instead of water, like get a watering can full of milk and just put it on the yard. Grow yourself little toothy bone trees.
Guillermo del Toro would like that a lot. The Pan's Labyrinth
Yeah.
director. Something I could see happening in there.
The
Thanks for hearing me.
toothy bone forest.
Thanks for hearing my whole story about that. I don't know if those are good stories. I haven't told that one in like 20 years or something.
That's
It happened when I was
fascinating
15. Oh, thanks, Jim. I appreciate it.
Brown Eye Winkin.
Oh, good old Brown Eye. I like him.
He says, "Do you guys ever answer second page questions?" Yep. Yep, we do. Faux Furry says, if you could take a job, because this is carrying on from the delightful news that came on today, that Xbox Live is going to start serving Fox News to its gamers.
That's hilarious.
Yeah, the same Fox News that has slagged off video games in the past. It just goes to show how much corporations in charge of the video game industry respect the video game industry. But he said if you could take a job at Fox News covering video games specifically for these Xbox Live users, would you take the job? Even if it meant that you had to fudge facts slightly from time to time to make for a better story.
Huh? Why would you have to do that?
I don't know. Well, it's Fox News. I guess it's.
Do they have to? I thought they wanted to. Like, I always thought that.
Well, that's what I always thought. Yeah, they want to.
Right.
But then, well, I guess the people in charge want to. I don't know whether the people delivering it want to.
So they're not asking if you would do what you do for Destructoid, which is actually write, create content, and decide what is put on the site. But if you were just like a newscaster, and you're like, oh, stuff was put on the teleprompter, I have to say
It'd
it.
basically be one of Fox News' mouthpieces, basically.
Sure.
I mean, I'll answer this. I'll do 2 questions.
Okay.
Take the job on Fox News if you were allowed to, you were allowed a measure of editorial control, or would you take it, if they were like, you tell what we tell you to tell?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I would refuse both, I think,
Okay.
just because I don't want to touch anything that Fox News has had its filthy, dirty harpies talons on. And the only reason I would ever go on Fox News would be to call Bill O'Reilly a cunt and tell him, we know how the tides work, you fucking idiot.
Would you do it, Jim, if it were live? If they were like, Jim, we're so excited to have you. You're such a huge hit on the internet. I've seen your different works on the destruction.com and all your different websites, the Jamquisition. Will you be on our live show and read this news for us, Jim?
That I would do, but only because you know why. What I would, because I would just go on and just talk about paedophiles. For all of 30 seconds until they wake up and realise what I'm doing and shut it down.
Yeah. I agree. I would be on it if it were live, but if it were like a real job that I would have to... I couldn't kind of sabotage it from the inside out. I wouldn't do it.
Matt Edwards says, can I have a little tickle of your balls?
With who? You?
I don't know. Matt Edwards just wants to have a little tickle of your balls. He didn't say so.
No. Very, very few people get to tickle my balls. There was one time that someone grabbed my balls, and it was pretty interesting, actually. Now that I think about it, I'm not going to tell the full story because we're almost out of time. But I was about to make a really bad decision, and it was a close friend of mine. Uh, he's from what I know, he's not attracted to me, so it wasn't a come on. But he was trying to talk me out of this decision. I just wasn't listening to him, and then he just went, "Hey," and I looked at him, and then he just cupped my balls, and then I was like, "Wow, man, you're right. I shouldn't do this." Like it's a shock to the system when your heterosexual friend is suddenly touching your balls. It'll sober you up fast. So yeah, one to grow on. Help your friends cup their balls before they make that bad choice.
Oh.
Jim. Yeah. Terrible.
I guess that's it. I guess we're done because I've been like just holding back sneezing for the past 2 hours.
You've done great.
Random Bullseye just says at the end, talk about sucking each other's dicks.
I'm still trying to. I've known Random Bullseye for a while, as I think most Destructoid people have, but still getting a handle on him. He was on Twitter talking a lot about how much he loved old Podtoid with Leigh Alexander and Nex. Who,
I saw some posts on that in the forums talking about that.
And he thought it was so great on the holiday episode when you were talking about having sex with me in all those different ways. He's like, that was just like Leigh Alexander and Nex, except they weren't joking. Nex just really wanted to have sex with Leigh Alexander and made her feel really bad. Really mean. I'm like, where's the fun? And he's like, it was great. They really were unhappy on the podcast. Such good.
That sounds like Random Bullseye.
Yeah. He's got an appreciation for things that I'm still trying to understand. I think because I'd feel really uncomfortable just listening to that.
I must confess, and I say this with no disrespect intended toward Nex or Alexander, because both of them know when I mean them disrespect, and now it's not that time. But I did listen to one episode of Podtoid they did together, and I did not enjoy it the way Random Bullseye did. I think I would have said exactly what Random Bullseye just said, but without ending it with the word, it's brilliant.
Maybe it's so genuine and real that he just, a lot of people, I think it's the same people who love reality TV more than a really well-made, drama or whatever, because they just want something that's real. They don't care how good it is.
Well, I mean, awkwardness can be funny. I
think it's hilarious a lot of the time. Sure.
Ricky Gervais does that a lot, and I like The Office and all that kind of stuff. And
yeah.
And there's some of that when we talk.
I guess so.
But it's all good-natured in the end. I think
so. Yeah.
I think that the main difference is when we do it, there is hope that people will find it funny. And there's not an implied seriousness ruining the humour.
Were they friends, Nex and Leigh Alexander? I don't think they really knew each other, did they?
I can't remember. I know Lex. Lex. I know Nex like Leigh Alexander.
A lot of guys
as a friend, I'm talking like a fucking gossip column.
I wonder if people even know who they are.
They got on.
They were friends, kind of.
And I know when when Nex left, she left soon after. And I told her at the time and said, well, that's not surprising. And she said, no, it's not because of that, Jim.
These are people who wrote for Destructoid far before I did.
Years ago, mate.
Yeah, I looked up to them. 2007? They were kind of the people I wanted to... they got me the idea, hey, I could write for Destructoid because I like what they're writing. I'll try to write like them, too. Now I don't think I write anything like either of them, but they wrote some stuff I liked. Good job, guys.
Yeah, it's weird when I think about that. It seems like a decade ago.
It was.
When it was... I mean, it's coming on half a decade now.
Yeah.
That's an entire school
sure.
lifetime.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's so weird. Back then, it was very different. Things have changed a lot, but in many ways also stayed the same. A lot of
Yeah.
people have come and gone, but I don't think now we could talk. I know I could talk hours about Destructoid's sort of history
Yeah.
because it's a good subject. Because I love my company,
Yeah, me
I
too.
really do. So yeah, I guess that's it. We can wrap it up. That was a bit of
Okay.
a weird rose-tinted ending.
Yeah, that's nice though to be
Yeah.
sentimental about where we've come from, and so far the site's only getting bigger.
Oh yeah, as I always say, it's going to be a great year for game journalism in 2012. I never say that because I'd be a dick, but I do think 2012 is going to be interesting. I sense some interesting shifts coming.
Huh.
Whether for good or ill, I do not yet know.
Yeah. Well, I think that I'm hoping that the people who try to get by on gimmicks will be less and less successful, and the people who actually like video games a lot will be more and more successful. That's my hope for
Let's hope
2012.
so.
Yeah.
Also, I think by the time this goes out, I will be able to say that the video game show, what I've done, is, I don't want to say officially back, but there's a new episode this week.
I hope so. Well, let me warn you about that, because this is what I'm involved with, sort of, right, Jim?
Yeah?
Yeah. Those people take 3 to 7 days sometimes to post videos. So it remains to be seen, but
So this is actually a preemptive announcement now.
well, you never know, or it could be posted tomorrow. They're very unpredictable. So we can tell people, you can choose to handle it as you will, but my guess would be to tell them to keep an eye out because it may already be there.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's because a lot of people sort of just know me from Jimquisition these days. But there was a video series I did before that called The Video Game Show What I've Done, which is it's more of a straight comedy show. It's intended for laughs. And it's very Podtoid-ish in a way. It's kind of got that same sense of humour to it. So if you like this show and you haven't seen The Video Game Show What I've Done before, then I'll be tweeting about it, and I'll probably post it on Destructoid as well when it goes out. So, yeah, that's fun. And you can always watch the Jimquisition on The Escapist every Monday. And see me and Jonathan Holmes on Destructoid.com. Jonathan Holmes, you got anything you want to let people know about?
Yeah, I guess so. That Machinima video?
Yeah.
It's so close to being just as liked as disliked.
I noticed it's 200 out now?
Yeah, I think a little bit less. I think it's like 150 from
Okay.
being, and that's all because of Podtoid listeners from last week.
I can
So
tell from the comments.
yeah, I know. It's just asking about pedophilia and all the comments. But if you guys wanted to push it all the way, even to maybe more liked, if it was like 5 more liked than disliked, that would give me a cushion to keep it balanced for at least a week or so.
Yeah.
That would make me feel so great. I don't know why. I don't know why I care. There's something about it. It just feels like symbolic to me for Destructoid to have a voice on Machinima, and for people who, because Destructoid has a huge amount of readers, but they aren't all on Machinima or even paying attention to video content at all.
It all bleeds into each other. That's what I've learned from last year's work is, people watch Jimquisition, they filter onto Destructoid, they listen to Podtoid, it all bleeds into each other. So getting us a nice presence on Machinima, which Jonathan Holmes has done, and I hopefully will be doing as well a little bit with sort of video game show and stuff. So it's all works to help everything out. So definitely go on there and thumb up Jonathan's video. It's getting some good views. It's generating debate, for better or worse.
That's what I like about it. What I'm happy about it is it's causing these two audiences with very different opinions to start talking to each other, sometimes nicely, sometimes not so nicely. But I don't know what it is. I want the people who I feel connected to, which is the Podtoid listeners, to have a voice on this huge 4 million subscribers website. So that's why I want you to go like it. I don't really care if people like it or not, but it just feels right.
I must say, though, the way you've been working that on Twitter has been masterful to watch.
Really? Is it funny?
Were you giving, codes for likes the other day?
Yeah, I'm going to do nude pics and I'm going to give codes away for that Vanity album, the Talking to Women About Video Games album I did, which has, really good musicians on it other than me. Danny B's on there. Solai, the composer of VVVVV, is on there. Jesse Hopkins, the composer of Mountain Blade, is on there. Matt Harwood, who did the Bit Trip series, did a really good song on there. So you should check that album out for everybody but me. Everyone but me did a really good job on that album. Tons of community members did really fantastic music. And I'll give away codes if we get the likes over the dislikes, even by one dislike. I'll give out 30 codes that day. It could even be tonight. We'll see.
There you go.
So go do that thing.
Can't say fairer than that.
And real quick, Jim, I'm going to plug a show that I may do. I had an idea yesterday morning. As people are saying, is Talking to Women About Video Games coming back? I'm like, I don't know. It just seems like I'd rather do a new idea than kind of continue an old idea, which isn't terrible, but it's kind of had its time already. I was thinking instead of doing a show called Why Don't You Like Video Games, Huh? Where I just harass people and why they don't like video games.
Do it quick, because as soon as you put that idea out there, someone will steal it.
Someone else will do it. Yeah. Hopefully I can do it quick. I'm going to talk to old men. I'm going to talk to little kids. I'm going to talk to art students. I'm going to talk to all these people I know who don't like video games and convince them that they should. That would be all right to watch, right? 2 minutes of that.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think I can really convert a lot of people into liking video games too. I think I can do it. Yeah. All right, so that's my plugs, I think. That's all I got. I did the album. Oh, it's on Bandcamp. Talking to Women About Video Games, the album on bandcamp.com. And that video, the Talking to Women About Video Games, the music video on Machinima. Like that up. And that's it.
There you go. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for listening. As always, give us nice reviews on iTunes. Subscribe. You can go on Amazon.com, go to their app store, get the Podtoid app. It's $2. You get literally nothing for it except Podtoid delivered to your Android. But if you want to support the show in some way, then $2 is nothing, and it helps us pay for hosting and stuff. And
it always works, right? I mean, we've been doing this for almost a year. You get a year's worth of stuff just put on your phone, so that's kind of cool.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. That's fun. Why don't you fucking do it? And actually, huge thanks to the people that did, because quite a few people have, and that surprises me, because, it's not something I aggressively push, and it's not something I say you have to do to be a fan of the show, You don't have to give us jack shit. But the fact that some people do is amazing, and something I'm eternally grateful for. So, yeah, I will see you next week, along with Max Scoville and Jonathan Holmes. Goodbye.
Bye. That wasn't that happy of a bye. I was happier than that. I'm just kind of out of it.